right, I call us to order. Clerk?
Okay, I'd like to establish attendance of the board members. Commissioner Whitemore, absent. Commissioner Askew,
Here.
Chairwoman Teams,
Here.
Commissioner Hart, absent. Commissioner Wilson, absent.
And I'll mention that our microphone and our video are live throughout the entire station except for lunch break. So-
Facebook Live.
I think so, yes. So it's a work session, so they have to be public. So we'll start with Mr. Hodge, Chief Hodge from our Fire and Rescue Department. So take it away.
Good morning, and thank each of you for being here. Appreciate the time as always. Really appreciate the fact that you wanted to hear from us and let us propose. I think we started that last year. I really think it's a good thing that we're doing. So everybody's got and I've got extra for those that are not here.
Thank you.
Put a proposal together. And it flows the same way that it did last year. You have a table of contents that takes you to tab one, will take you to it's just an option summary. So there's several options they'll go from our most requested dollar amount to the current budget that's been amended some this year. And that number on the current budget amended would include inflation doesn't naturally affect every line item, but it does affect some. So for Georgia averaging 5.5%, historically over the last decade. Of course, that's 10. You can be 10% one year, 2% the next, but on average, and it does affect, just like it does in our personal lives, it affects county operations as well. And so that coupled with the health insurance and different things where those numbers they fluctuate because we'll have employees that we may have 80% of employees that take full benefit, and then the next year it could be 70. So it just changes. So we budget on the high end, the top end of that number, but we generally would come in underneath that as it plays out. Because again, some do not take advantage of all of our insurance or even retirement sometimes. So if you'll flip to tab 2, it'll be the requested. So I have a letter, and I do want to read it so everybody can hear it. But dear members of the Walker County Board of Commissioners, I'm writing to respectfully present proposal option 1 for the upcoming 2026 budget cycle on behalf of Walker County Fire Rescue. This proposal outlines 2 key initiatives that are critical to maintaining and improving the safety, operational effectiveness, and long-term resilience of the fire service in Walker County. Number 1, we're asking for the addition of 12 full-time firefighter positions. I want to give a little background on, again, the why with this. In 2017, when I arrived in the county, the staffing was at 3 stations. They staffed 4 to 5 firefighters at each station. Response times were around 14 minutes. They were extended. We're geographically large. We have 18 fire stations, and it's just really tough to cover that kind of territory reasonably with response times and also with the declining volunteer numbers. So volunteer firefighter numbers. So the conversation at that point was to spread out to 3 other stations and do staffing with 2 firefighters at each station. We did improve response times, but what we gave up in that is operational safety, not safety like we're going to get anybody hurt, but we can't make we make decisions based on safety, so we can't be as aggressive in firefighting as we need to be sometimes because we don't have enough staffing there. So, but the conversation was to try to add 3 firefighters a year to build back up to an applied staffing level at each station of at least 3 firefighters. Crew integrity and most functions And most functions on the fire ground, most functions on the fire ground take 2 firefighters. So, again, I'll give you an example. When we have an offensive fire attack, you have someone driving the apparatus, and we'd like to have 2 firefighters coming off so they can operate in teams of 2. So everything we do is operates in teams of 2. The way we operate today is we have to what we call piecemeal assignments. So we have to send 5 and 6 stations there to get the number of firefighters needed to get there, and it's delayed because we have 1 fire truck that'll get there while we're having to wait on another fire truck just to get that team of 2 to operate. So when you run the math out over 8.5 years, the number we're requesting is where we really should be, or what the plan verbally was anyway then. Keep reading. In order to ensure the high standards of safety and performance on emergency scenes, we propose the addition of 12 firefighter positions. This staffing enhancement will allow all career fire stations to have 3 firefighters assigned per shift in alignment with best practices for safe and effective fireground operations. This change is crucial to enhancing firefighter safety by progressing toward the National Fire Protection Association and NFPA's staffing recommendations. Improving operational efficiency, allowing crews to initiate more effective fire suppression and rescue tactics, stabilizing and potentially improving the community's ISO insurance service office rating, which directly impacts homeowner insurance premiums and reflects the readiness of our emergency services. We're talking about ISO, we were evaluated a couple of months ago. We should see the results or hear from them in probably 3 to 5 more months. We just got that aid and what they're how long it takes them to arrive at their conclusion. Based on what I could see, the team can see, we're a 70.22, we're 0.23 away from 0.04 of a point. Now, it does take a lot to move the needle. It does take a lot. But we're going to be where we're going to have to go on either one of that score. So again, the addition of the 12 positions will help shore up that score. I'm hoping we come back the same, or even a little bit better, but it's really close. So, but we do that, and we've done that for a while, which is also why we try to keep progressing toward adding the firefighter positions. And then the second thing in this proposal is a 4% cost of living adjustment for fire department personnel. This helps retain and attract qualified personnel, competitive job market, maintain morale and commitment among our current staff, and ensure that Walker County continues to invest in the professionals who serve and protect our residents every day. So in conclusion, this proposal represents a responsible and strategic investment in the future of public safety for Walker County. By addressing both staffing and compensation, proposal option 1 strengthens our department's ability to respond to emergencies effectively, protect property and lives, and uphold the high expectations of our community. And as always, again, we appreciate you listening and hearing what the proposal provides. If you flip to tab 7, I put together just an overview, something you could actually see what's going on around us, and we're not just asking for 12 firefighters, and I know you know that's not for no reason, but I've looked at Catoosa County, Whitfield County, Ron Floyd, Bartow, Gordon, and of course Walker County. And you'll notice in of these counties, in square miles, we rank 3rd. Number of fire stations, we're number 1. We have 18 fire stations. Road miles, we're 3rd. Call volume, we're 2nd. So, and then number of firefighters required for state compliance, we're number 1. That's, the state requires you to have a total of 4 firefighters multiplied by your number of stations. Ours is 72. They don't require them to be at those stations, they just require that total number. And currently we get away with that right now by having volunteers and part-time. But if we lost part-time and volunteers tomorrow, then we're not guaranteed, we don't have a guarantee. So we're highly ranked amongst these departments, they're comparable, and some people may say, well, their population's 100,000. And they run forward with the city of Rome, which then covers 130,000 people, which obviously tells us that their revenue's probably better. But they also have a service delivery that requires money. But what I'm trying to show is not what their taxes bring in or the number of people, which obviously helps that, but that's that the fire service delivery is comparable in each of these counties. Again, we live in Bartow County, 458 square miles. We have 15 fire stations. They run 10,000 calls. We're only second to them in call volume. We're going to be right at 8,000 calls this year. Our call volume increases substantially each year. But I'm not asking, if you look down at the bottom of the budgets, obviously Bartow County's up nearly a $22 million budget for their fire department. I just want to make the point that we're not trying to be these fire departments. We're just trying to improve that minimum where we can at least better operate with the minimum stations that we have staffed, which again is 7 of 18. So I showed you the first that are highlighted in orange there because these are basic requirement, looking at pretty substantial columns or titles of things that really matter. So then when you go over to full-time firefighters, this is a shift personnel. These are firefighters, not me, not Chief Farrow, not any of the administration. These are firefighters on duty at each department. We're last out of 6, and we're tied with Gordon County as far as that number, but you'll see they only have 11 fire stations. And then it breaks it down to number of firefighters per day, the number of fire stations staffed with firefighters. A lot of people like to look at the Tusa County, they're staffing, they only have one more station to staff. And they're staffing, you follow it on over, the average number of firefighters per station per day, how they're staffed, they're over 3 people a day. And again, we're not saying our minimum staffing is going to be 3, we're saying assigning 3, so we still have to let a couple people off each day for vacation and or for sick or whatever. So we would actually, even with this new number, if it was approved, we still would have a couple of stations potentially each day that would have still 2 people, but we would be working toward improving that.
Chief, quick question,
Yes.
is that to include, is that including any staffing for the people that you're working on?
It does not. This is to try to get 3 people assigned to the 7 stations that we have. No,
That would be another angle.
that would be it. So, when you look at the percentage, the next to last column there, the percentage of fire station staff with firefighters, you can see that Gordon County, because they choose to staff 4 of 11 stations, but they're assigning 4 to 5 people to each of those stations. So I made a note at the bottom of that where it shows you that if they staff with our staffing model at 2 that we have, and we do have 3 stations that have 3 assigned currently. But again, when 2 people are off, we average just 2 people a day. But that would take them with that staffing model, that would take them to 64%. And of course, Whitfield, Rome, Bartow are all at 100%. And then I just put a column in there to show you that the percentage of full-time firefighters for state compliance. And again, we rank number 1, we require the most for state compliance for the most fire stations. And that is, we're the only one of this group that does not cover their minimum required by the state with full-time firefighters. Which again, we're okay right now because we have 10 volunteers, we keep around 11 to 13 part-timers, and the state counts that currently. So we're not out of compliance by any means, and I don't mean to insinuate that in any way. I I just feel it would be better to have a guarantee with the full-time firefighter. So, and when you look at the budgets, we have the lowest budget. And each of these organizations, when I talk to them, each of these organizations have proposed more firefighters themselves for their upcoming budgets. People that have full staffing, like Rome, Marco, they're trying to meet the number for their ladder counties that requires more people, and their technical rescues and upstaffing different. We would consider those luxuries.
That's what I said, they've got the basics filled, now
They're working toward bigger and better things themselves.
Is there a rating of 3 as well, or some of them better than 3?
Some are 3s, Catoosa's a 3, Gordon County is, I believe, at 4. Bartow is a 2 or a 3. And Whitfield, I think, is a 3, but I think they're staring at a 2. They're staffing there. So it's pretty comparable as far as where, they're short up. All the other ones that are 3s are really short up and working toward that 2. And as you heard me mention before, a 2 is really nowhere in our near future. We're just trying to shore up the 3. And 3s are really great. For a rural county like ours and our size, the 3s are a really great score. We're just barely there. So, but we've done well, and again, I definitely appreciate all the support. We've always been supporting, and it's gotten better each year. Can't say that it's not gone backwards since I've been here. It's gone forward, and we greatly appreciate it. But I do think this kind of paints a picture of kind of where we are and our need. When you look at what our shift commanders and chief officers have to do on the fire ground, they're responsible for running an incident. We'll take a residential structure fire. You know, we're having to send 5 and 6 of our 7 stations to each fire just to get a minimum number of people there to try to make it safe. And the burden lies on the shift commanders or those in charge, because they're having to, if you have 3 people on the unit responding, I can assign fire attack 1 is what we call it. When that first crew's going in for fire attack, we call it fire attack. I know I can assign that to engine 1. It's 2 people coming off. I don't have to worry. I know the personnel on there with accountability. The way that we have to operate is that shift commander has to constantly keep up with who's arriving at what time and when, where they can position them. Because for every fire attack, you're supposed to have a backup. For every search group, you're supposed to have a backup. And we, at a minimum, we're going to have 2 fire attack groups and then 1 search group, and we're out of beat when it comes to backing that up. So if a secondary fire comes in Walker County, or even calls come in, we are relying heavily on our mutual aid and or coverage. The cities in the county are very good at helping us cover in those times, and a lot of times responding with us, because we do have automatic aid in place, which definitely helps. But again, our automatic aid can be on call themselves, and they're still going to send somebody, but it might be 2 stations over. So it's a delayed response time. This increase in staffing would again help us keep more units in service for that second and third call that's coming in. We're running 20, between 22 and 23 calls a day, calls for service. We're responding to nearly 140, not counting fire alarms, 140 structure fires a year. So every 2.5 days, we're responding to those. And I think last year we had 80 plus working fires. So we're not slow. We're not slow. We're busy. Our inventory as far as housing and properties is getting older. Therefore, it's more susceptible to fire damage and older wiring and construction. You just see it more often in these areas.
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
the cities, which cities do you cover without the city fire department? Chickamauga,
City of Chickamauga.
Rossville's got a minimal fire.
Rossville staff, to my knowledge, unless they change something, the staff's 1 a day. The City of Rossville, Lafayette staff's 2 a day. Chief, that's right, it's 2 a day in Lafayette. And Lookout Mountains volunteer. And we cover, of course, Macklemore volunteer, they have their fire station now.
Thank you.
With Lafayette and Chickamauga, do you have Lafayette and Rossville, do you have the?
Automatic aid?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We both now.
Yes, sir.
The only sad part, from what I understand, is that Rossville is just like, they just don't have any personnel,
Yeah, they have.
adequate apparatus.
I think they're trying to use some part-time now to staff, so some days they may have 2. But again, think about when they're coming with 2 people, somebody's operating the truck, so we get 1 firefighter.
And that's all they have to see.
Yeah, unless they have some volunteers that go there,
Right.
I'm not aware, we're just not getting a big response, We generally, they have a virus in several trucks. So, I hope this makes sense. I just tried to lay it out where, and again, I know it's not comparable, everything's not comparable in population, but fire service delivery within these counties is comparable.
So Chief, would it be fair to say that like and I'm just gonna use Rossville for example, because it's probably our least staff. When like you said, when we're having to send multiple people for automatic aid reentry for them, and it does pull away from of course, automatic mutual aid does, but it's not designed. It's designed to help the ones that's needing it. But if we're having to send more than 1 or 2 personnel, like to the city, to a place that's really understaffed, and that's cutting into our potential coverage.
So let's just give a hypothetical. City of Rossville has a structure fire, and we send 2 of our north end stations. One's going automatically, but they're going to call for another. And we send two stations over. We send the Flintstone station and Station 7 off Jenkins. Those 2 stations are committed to that fire. If we have another fire that comes in on the north end, then we're having to send the rest of our stations. That's from Villanelle, that's from all the way down the bypass.
Leapfrog.
South of the thing.
I got you. That's what.
Now, we're gonna be calling, because we know that, we're immediately gonna be calling for mutual aid, because we're likely to get a Catoosa County truck there faster than,
Mhm.
or even a Chattanooga truck there faster than we're gonna get Villanelle or our south end, Station 15, off of Lee School Road bypass. It's just a long response time. We have everybody spaced out, if you will, accordingly. The only other station that we currently get put people in would be Station 19. But again, we need to arrive at our minimum standard being 3 firefighters at every station. It's just a more efficient, safe practice. And it is a standard. If you'll flip to tab 8, it's the NFPA standard, and you'll go down history and purpose at the top left. If you go down to the 3rd bullet there, it says addressing the hazard levels that they categorize it. Low hazard is a residential single-family dwelling. Because again, when we have conversations just like we're having today, we talk about that more common incident that we have, which is residential. And fortunate enough to have good fire codes in place. We're not having a lot of commercial and industrial fires, but that's a whole nother, we're definitely, we're gonna pull a lot of resources if we have something like that. So I just wanted to show you that. If you flip to the next page, then you'll see where it goes down. It says the company staffing, the 2nd bullet. They really want 4 on duty per engine company. Again, we're not asking for minimum staffing of 3. We're asking to have 3 assigned, because we do have to let people on. We eventually would grow, hopefully past that, to where we would have a minimum staffing of 3. But again, we're just trying to keep moving forward. But you'll see where it says high volume of geographic restrictions, which we are definitely geographically challenged. And their recommendation is 5 on duty at that point. There was a question, and some people may say, well, why does, if you flip back to tab 7, looking at the spreadsheet, you look at county square miles, you'll see that let's look at Rumford, they have 518 square miles, and you're wondering why they only have 10 fire stations. We have 446 square miles and have 18. In my conversations with ISO and representatives, I ask, I'm constantly asking questions, just trying to learn more and see what everybody's doing. So the why came up in this, and they have, if you look at Walker County, you look at all of our rural areas, big as we are, it's all developed with roads. You can just about get to most places, even Pigeon Mountain, and I mean, we have a lot of calls on the mountains because people want to go enjoy our beautiful landscape and they'll get injured on the trail. But there's a lot of undeveloped areas in these counties with less fire stations. So as they develop out more, they'll have to add fire stations as well, which may be what they're planning for. Their budgets are quite impressive. But we don't have a lot of, we have roads that extend all through our rural areas and people living in these locations and at least visiting these locations. We're unique in that we have a lot of caves that people go to. It's more and more people are coming in and quite honestly, there's a lot more danger now than ever. When I'm talking to our Cave and Cliff team, they're really worried about. We've got some YouTubers out there that are putting our caves out there, and they're doing. They're very young and enthusiastic individuals that have no fear, and they're getting a little not respecting the dangers of the caves as well. But it prompts others to want to. Hey, I want to try that. I want to see that. And so we're seeing an increase in people visiting our caves, which is good for, we want people to enjoy what we have in the county, but we also want them to be safe, and we also want to be prepared in the event something happens. Each proposal just goes down. It just goes from 12,963. It just shows you the numbers. So the budget. Look back, if you just turn to tab 1 and look at the option summary there, the 12 additional firefighters and the 4% pay increase. There was some adjustments in this budget. We again, and we're operating. I pulled it this morning, and we're right at a little over 60% expended, and I think where we sit today. The neutral number is 66 point something percent of the budget. So we're right in line or even under operating in the current budget. But there were some adjustments. So I got an updated number from the tax assessor's office, and the billable, keep in mind I'm saying billable public safety fee for next year is 6.25. And that's the number you see at the top. Now, that number, I think we're sitting at around 96%, 96, 97%. Let me tell you right here. 94% collected this year. But it always collects that 100%, but it collects constantly. Because some people are paying back fees, some people just haven't paid yet. So the public safety fee billable is the 6.25. That is an increase because of our growth. And keep in mind with ISO too, that when we add roads, we add a subdivision, we add roads that are further, this is just the way they do it, further than 1.5 miles from a fire station, then that negatively impacts our deployment analysis. So we're growing in places in the county, we're adding business. So anytime we do that and we don't improve the public safety side of things, we, the fire department, are having to do more with less. Now again, I say that, but then I also will tell you that If it's businesses, we are holding them to a standard, obviously with code, which really helps, because the sprinkler system is better than firefighters being at the business. So while we are growing, we are holding accountability with our requirements, so that does help us in that respect. So the request would have to come with the public safety fee, billing out 6.25, general fund transfer, or insurance premium rebate for this option one with the 12 firefighters that we need would be a roughly $1.6 million that would be needed to help supplement the public safety fee. So that budget total is 7.866.
So Chief, I'm gonna have to let you wind up so I can keep at least a little bit on schedule. So please give us your final remarks and commissioners ask any questions that you have.
Yeah, I'm done, I think, unless you have questions for me. I really do appreciate your time and consideration.
Do you have any questions for
No.
me?
No, I think it's, as always, well prepared. I do see that we have to, it's one of those departments that is continuing, we are continually growing and trying to find that happy medium.
We have a lot more tourism, a lot more activities going on. Thank you, Chief. Really appreciate your effort. Perfect.
Others
I'll make sure they get
are
them.
not able to make it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Farrell, for all your input and,
Yes.
for. Thank you, Chief.
Getting ready for the next year.
There you go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll go, yeah, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Did y'all sign in when you came in? Okay. You ready, Carla? Please come in. Thank you. Sorry we're late.
Good morning.
Here.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
please announce who you are for the video and the live feed, please.
Carl Bowers, Walker County Public Works Director.
Okay. And in our budget, it's known as highways and streets, is the technical term. So we are ready to hear your comments about your upcoming budget that you proposed. I will, let me make one change. There's a typo on the sheet that I gave to the commissioners. The number of employees in this department is 30, not 50. So now I'll turn it over to you.
You guys have the proposed department requested with the notes and everything.
Yeah.
So there's an increase in salary and wages.
Those are the notes he's talking about there.
And that is for an addition of four more employees with the added 4% COLA. Most of all of the 5100s down to the 512900s, all of that stuff is that's done down here.
Yeah, that's HR.
Professional engineering fees, we've never had anything in that. This is $20,000 into that. Just, I'm guessing that's about how much it would cost to get something started with our guardrail studies and drawings and others. So we've got some issues going on there that we need to get addressed.
So that'd be like CTI or something like that?
Right,
Okay.
right. And those studies would be used to determine some of our guardrails that are in place, if we can just pull them out. If there needs to be improvements done to them, added, whatever. We got a lot going on with guardrails right now. Everything else, there's about a 30% increase. Cleaning services disposal, I left that around the same. It seemed to be hovering pretty close to the same compared to past years. repairs to buildings, there was a $10,000 in there for 2025. I believe that had ended up being used for some of the roof work there, I think.
I'm gonna look and see.
And then I put 15 in there just to kind of get some more updates done.
I'll add too, if you don't mind, that mold has been recently found in your
Yes.
offices, so we have to address that pretty quickly.
And there may be a couple of lines in here that are, I think there's 2 lines in here that I kind of see where that could be duplicated. One of those could possibly come out. And that's either this 15,000 in repairs to buildings or the capital buildings in general. I put 40,000 in capital buildings in general for our what I call the sandbox, where we store our salt and things of that nature. It's kind of, it's a little wobbly.
Seen its better days.
Yeah. So that, we need to get that addressed, either maybe upsize it, just, and the middle building. You recall the middle
Shed.
The shed, the middle shed. So that is, we've got some structural issues there on one end of it that need to be addressed. Some of the purlins have been damaged, and the tin
Got hit by a piece of equipment or?
burnt. Several years ago, whenever that truck caught fire on the end of it. We need to get that addressed. The snow and ice removal, that's another big one. I put 100,000 there. It's always been 15. That 15,000 is not gonna buy much of anything. I've always used it just for materials. But that 100,000, we have, equipment that needs to be bought for the 5 F-750s. Plus material in case, right now we're pretty stocked up, so hopefully we got a mild winter coming, but we don't know there.
We don't know.
Where's another? Repairs to equipment, right of way, and road material, vehicles, things of that. I kept a lot of that. Repairs to equipment, I kept it the same as last year because I think we're fairly caught up with some stuff. There, we got 1 or 2 pretty decent repairs that need to be made. And when I say decent, probably $10,000 to $15,000 repairs to some equipment. Repairs to right of way, I added 50 there. Road material, 50 there, and vehicles, 50, I added 50,000 there.
Bless you.
Rentals, the same, equipment, vehicles, copiers, that's. And that's one of the things, the capital buildings, when Angie mentioned the mold, it's not in here, but it's just something that I had thought about after I'd done this, and that's, I just wrote it in. It's not in this pack, but I wrote in, I think it's gonna cost about 100 to deal with that. The capital infrastructure, and that's the major increases there. It is, a lot of this is capital, which could be used in SPOS funding if it gets approved in October. So that's kind of the balance. This kind of what this is gonna look like, worst case scenario.
Yeah, we'll remove a lot of this if SPOS passes in November vote. But we don't know that, so that's why we have to put it, we're trying to identify it.
Any of you guys got any questions on any of the capital? I've got 200 in equipment, has trucks, trailers, things that are like 1-ton trucks, trailers for skid steers, mini X, things of that nature. Then capital, other equipment, construction, there's 700,000 there for tractors, dump trucks. Loader is getting extremely close to, it's a hit or miss. It's got a hydrostatic transmission. I'm being told when that goes out, it's done. We've had some issues with it. We're getting close to 4,500, 5,000 hours on one or two of our skid steers. I have to try to get those turned over about that hour range.
What hour range?
About 4,000 to 4,500. It's a little low, but it's high in municipal work.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Capital infrastructure, bridges, things of that nature, there's $1 million there. That should cover at least 2 precast box culverts, depending on size, and some bridge repair. I've got that there. For one, that we have a couple of situations that could turn into something we need to do sooner than later. One in particular is on a bridge, but this bridge is on the GDOT repair schedule. I'm hoping it will hold up until that happens.
Which one is that?
The one on Old Bethel at 340.
Yeah.
In the last bridge report from GDOT, that we've got some undermining under one of them abutment walls. And, depending on their schedule, when they let that project and all of that, and we're not in danger of having to shut it down or anything at the moment, but it is something that needs to be addressed, and it's probably most likely going to be something that we'd have to hire out. So that's why that $1 million is there, because that stuff is pretty expensive. If that stays there, then we can do some of the bridge maintenance projects with, such as painting and erosion control and things of that nature around wind walls and stuff like that. You guys got any questions for me on any of it?
I guess, no, I can see, when I was looking at the increase at first, I thought, well, but it doesn't take long to add up. When you're talking about, like you said, $1 million for this and $1 million for that, it doesn't,
Right.
but it doesn't take long. My one question, and it having to do with your personnel.
Mm-hmm.
How are you stacked on, how are you looking on personnel as far as, we've discussed it, and we're about ready to move on it, but we're gonna have to get our 5-day-a-week coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I've discussed with you guys, the 410s, you guys, that's fine,
Mm-hmm.
but we gotta have some sort of rotation. We won't be on the road 5 days a week, we're too big a county not to be. Are we covered in your numbers, or do we have
We're not.
personnel?
No, I would need to go back and recalculate some of this for however many extra days of work that would be. You looking at probably around $6,000 a day.
Well, it'd be 1 day a week.
So however many Fridays that is.
It wouldn't be.
So
what
it's
you're
hard.
talking about doing is just shifting.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Monday through Thursday to
Yeah.
Thursday through Friday.
Yeah, because I know a lot of them have like second gigs, or
So Tuesday,
different.
Wednesday, and Thursday would be, so not in, what do you mean, splitting?
So to get 5 days, just 5 working, regular days, Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're on 410.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that a lot of the guys have, secondary things that they've done, because they've been there for so long.
Mhm.
That's why I said, we don't mind to stay the 4-10, but there's gonna have to be some sort of road. Somebody's gonna be working Monday through Thursday, somebody's gonna be working Tuesday through Friday,
Okay,
basically, or you see what I'm saying? Or however you choose to make
we've got
it.
Fridays covered now.
We don't have a crew out full-time on the road.
We do right now.
Well, I haven't seen them.
Now,
I haven't seen
we
them.
currently have,
And I'm talking,
we're mowing 6 days a week.
But
right now.
we're paying overtime for that,
Mhm.
so that's another
Yeah.
expense that we would have to consider. Well, it would offset itself if you hired another crew as regular time, is that what you're saying? So
Yeah, I mean, and I haven't, Carla knows a lot better about the numbers. I haven't dug into the individual numbers on it. I just know where we are and what our responsibilities are from the county standpoint, what we're gonna do. I know that, and so we've kicked it around and been very cordial and kind of talking about it, and everybody's kind of kicked it around. I know some of the guys may not like it, some may, it's not gonna affect, I wouldn't think it would affect me, but that's just something that I just wanna make sure, irregardless of where we're at, what we're doing, that's one of the key responsibilities that we have, as elected officials and county employees, is our roads right away. If we're gonna be on anything, we're gonna be on the roads, you know what I'm saying? So, that's.
Well, I can have that conversation with Carlin and Hugh, our.
I'm just asking while we're talking budget, because it's, that's.
We don't have the staff for that now, so that's what I heard Carlin say, so we'll have to look at the numbers and see.
But, and you said we're hiring 3 today?
That was open positions already, right?
Right.
Yeah, but we've been
How
getting
about
by,
today, but.
yeah. Well, we've been getting by without how many positions up there, Carl? Probably, we've been 3 or 4 or 5 short. At times, at least 3 of them, I guess, most of the time, aren't you?
We're just now getting to a decent amount.
I don't know how many
We got-
open positions. they have.
These 3 will be filling in, we had one guy that decided he wasn't coming back Friday. One guy I know is taking some leave, probably in another month and a half. And then there's another guy that's here on our book that is not off of it, and he's not been here for a while. If that makes any sense.
It does.
There's some
But those-
issues there, so
Those
that,
3 were
those
open
3.
though. Those-
Yes, they were open.
Those, the
Mhm.
3 you're just mentioned,
Those,
huge problems that
Right.
we've got to deal with.
yeah, they haven't been here for a while.
Do you know how many other open positions you have that aren't filled,
Right now,
besides the 3 that Bobby wants to fill now?
well, as far as, budget or employee numbers that we did earlier in the week, those are now full.
So
We
you
would
don't have
add.
any extra, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So
we
it would
would
be an
add.
add. Okay, that's what I need to know.
And I would just state this real quick, and then we'll get off of it, just something to think about. I've kind of kept on the pretense of, because after talking with you and some other guys, I know that, the guys like that 410.
Mhm.
I don't care if we can't get them out of 410, we'll go to 5/8. I mean, we got personnel to do that right now. So, I just want us to work some way of getting started on getting our coverage out there. And like I said, great, we're mowing overtime now, we need to be. Of course, the weather's kept, you ain't had nothing you can do about that really.
Mhm.
But like I said, that's great, that's good, we just need to move in that other direction as well, in a fairly rapid pace.
So we'll look at that. Carlin, do you have any other thoughts or comments you'd like to make?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, if, normal increases and planning just in case T-Slot or a SLOSS doesn't pass,
Which that's a big if.
that's a big if. That's what these budgets will look like if it doesn't.
Right.
So the reason it's an 83% increase in your budget, for
Yeah,
1 year, so you're assuming you're using the T-Splosh monies in 20.
not T-Splosh.
I'm talking Splosh.
SLOSS. So that, over the years, most all of our capital has come out of SPOS. This is just in case it doesn't get passed. This increase in capital is to take care of some things that will have to be done.
I believe this board wasn't in play when the last splosh got voted on.
Right, that's
It
correct.
was.
It was voted on prior to taking on.
That's right.
So we're all learning a little bit about how to plan, and hopefully we'll get splosh passed, and that's a large part. There's several millions of this dollars would go to that, away from his budget.
Okay. And have you heard any more on the guardrail grant? Or is it-
I haven't heard yet. I don't believe I'll hear till after the first of the year,
Okay.
actually, yeah. That'd be
I'm
nice.
excited about it,
Me
but
too,
it's kind of what
that would
we're
be
here.
helpful.
If that comes through.
Okay, any last thoughts or comments
No,
from
ma'am.
Mr. Collins? Okay, thank you so much,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you being prepared,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And then we'll have EMA 911 next.
Hey, I got finally.
Thank you so much.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Carmen.
Come have a seat, please.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely, please tell us who you are and the departments that you are overseeing.
My name is Curtis Freakner. I'm overseeing emergency management, emergency 911, and information and technology division.
Otherwise known as data.
IT.
Data,
Oh, in your budget, it's reference to data processing.
that's right, yeah, thank you for that. Okay, well, we're all ears.
Which would you like to start off with?
EMA, I have an EMA, E911, and IT.
Okay. EMA, we have been able to fulfill a new position, a deputy director position in that department. And it was in the budget already when we brought over a person, an employee from the fire department. They had 20 years of experience, and we brought that experience over to emergency management. We've been moving forward at this time with our hazardous mitigation update. We've been out in the community, and we've been working with the cities to kind of build those relationships, strengthen those relationships with each of the cities. The education and training, we see an increase in that due to the new employee, the full-time employee. I have a certification that the state provides training for an advanced emergency manager. And our new employee he's already started taking those classes, online classes and stuff, and there'll be training that's at Stick for in-person training to get his advanced. There's a basic and advanced level, so he's working on his basic at this time. So we'll see an increase in the education and training side. On the salaries, you'll see an increase because we did bring up somebody with experience. And also, I took my full salary and spread it across IT and emergency management. I did not put mine in 911 because 911 is a revenue-based department, so we get so much in, and so it's because we need to try to keep it lean. It doesn't collect enough to support it, and we have to add to general fund. So I just took my salary and put it in the other two departments and not put a burden on 911 to try to keep it, try to get close to self-supporting as we can. When we move to 911, you'll see that. Emergency management has never had a general supplies line item. We just kind of shared with 911 or whoever we were trying to work with. We just shared supplies across the board. So we needed because we do have a full-time person and we have projects that we wanna work in. I think it's only fair for EMA to have its supply chain, there. Repairs and equipment and it's repairs and vehicles. So with my vehicle and the new employee vehicle is gonna be in this department, 2 vehicles. We'll have that, plus the command bus. And on the command bus, I put a little bit of money there that we haven't seen before, just for the repairs of the equipment on the command bus and air conditioning stuff that is needed there. That's really kind of the gloss high level remarks.
I have a quick question. On salary, in 24, we got a salary reimbursement. Is that constant? Is that?
I can't talk to that. There was never there was a salary put in there for, so the state emergency management grant we got, the state we have to have a full-time or a person allocated to that department. And so over the last several years, they were taking partial wages out of the fire chief's budget and his personnel, and so they would swap those monies and support the grant that we get every year.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anybody, any other questions for EMA? All right. Let's go to 911.
911, we are, at this point in time in this conversation, we are fully staffed with 20 employees in the dispatch room. We have 4 training at this time on each shift, so we hope to maintain those employees. We struggle because it takes usually 6 months to a year to get the foundation of an employee up to where they can function fully without supervision sitting beside them. You know, they pass their training, their basic training stuff within 6 months, and then we still have to make a decision if we're gonna keep them as a full-time employee. And so after that year mark, we feel confident and they have some state training classes they have to take and requirements that they have to do to be a certified dispatcher. So over the years, just trying to keep up with the surrounding counties' wages and everything and the bonuses that some of the counties were giving to attract dispatchers. We have struggled in the past to get trained dispatchers, experienced dispatchers. So we are in our salary, we're in line with other counties around us. We're not paying more, we're not paying less. We're right within, 10, 20 cents of what other counties are doing. I did, if you look at the spreadsheet, I didn't bring one for everyone, but on the salary increase for this year, I added a shift diff for night shift. They work 2 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 2 days off. It just reversed. They work 7 days. They work the exact same for 7 days every 2 weeks. And night shift, their hurrybacks where we've been short staffed we haven't been fully staffed in over 8 years. And so their hurrybacks and their overtime, they don't have time to recoup on night shift. And right now, night shift has 10 of the 20 employees. And I have 40% of those, roughly 4 people who are, 2 of them are seniors and one's right at 5 years and one is a trainee that are saying, we need to get the day shift. We need to get this day shift, our body, our mental capacity, everything else. And so to try to rectify that and keep those people from going to other places, Whitfield, Catoosa, they already have a shift diff in there and it's $1.50. And so we're suggesting that Dade County is in their budget. We're trying to just kind of stay in step so we don't draw from others, but, Whitfield and Catoosa, our neighbors are already ahead of us, so there's options out there, and we want to keep our talent in Walker County. So I did add that in the breakdown, so when you look at that budget, it's easy to pull that out if necessary, but I think it's a true need for the county in keeping our talent, because that position is so rare, to find that personality type that can do the job that they do. So, and I welcome anybody to stop by and just see and understand what they do deal with on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
it's impressive.
The big ticket items that we have to face in 911, I will start off with just the radio system itself. The radio system Motorola has put us on notice last year that in 5 years, our consoles will be obsolete. If not, they will still work, they will be obsolete, they will not work in 5 years. Those radio consoles are $120,000. Catoosa just went and they moved into their new 911 center, they bought all the new equipment, and they're right at 120 with the equipment and licensing that you have to have. So that's gonna be a big budget out there that we need to look at, and we're planning on working on a 5-year plan to address that. We're looking at the next SLOSS money that comes to do that. So that's a big ticket item out there that hopefully SLOSS can do. We have money in our recent SLOSS right now, and we had a software demo last week, and it deals with the phone system. The phone system at 911 is more technology advanced than your regular phone, but people expect it to act like your regular phone, work like your regular phone, be able to do the same thing your regular phone does. And it takes a little more technology to make that happen. The state has, over the last 5 years, been looking at the next gen, what they refer to as next gen 911. It's I2 or I3 networking. It's moving 911 from off of your old copper base lines to your network, like a computer network system. What that allowed that system to do is to move your incoming calls, your databases, all your name and address that pops up, it moves it out to a network that is easily manipulated in times of emergencies. If there's outages or anything like that, we are able to transfer to Dave, Catoosa, Whitfield, in times of emergencies or training, and they vice versa can do that with us when everybody's on that. We've been working together as partners. Again, Catoosa, Walker, Dade, Chattooga County, and Whitfield County, and looking at this software, because it's coming, and we want to be prepared, and we want to be ahead of the wave of this transition. I will tell you that in the budget, I broke it down in it goes in 5-year increments. So say the cost is $500,000. And if we pay up front $100,000, and then we do $100,000 for the next 5 years, there's a little bit of money out there that is put in the 2020 SLOSS that has some room in it to pay a little more. You can pay a little more and just offset your overall cost moving forward, or you can just do the flat rate across the board. That is you all's decision on how to fund it, but there is some funding out there. If we're in a positive space for the county, then you can pay it all up front. If we pay it all up front, the vendor says that they'll give us a 2% reduction in the overall cost, because again, if you leave the money in our SLOSS and we're making interest off of that, there's that to consider. So just wanted to give you those options out there. Commissioner Hart set in on some of the demos and found it a positive move, hopefully, and spoke with some of the other emergency managers in the area, and we all support it. It's a necessary evil. One of the things I will tell you is that the process of moving 911 lines right now for Walker County, if we have to reach out to our 3 phone providers for our 911 trunk lines. They are independent circuits. Nothing else rides on them except for 911 calls. And so we take and we'll reach out to AT&T and we ask them to reroute our calls to wherever we need to reroute them. We reach out to Chickamauga Telephone Company and we reach out to Windstream. Over the years, Windstream with their equipment in our county have difficulties in transferring efficiently 911 calls. So if we have an issue where a piece of equipment went down or our generator didn't start and we had a power issue and our 911 phone system went down, there's not a backup. We have to start calling and transfer those calls as soon as possible. And they typically get transferred within 5 minutes. And so that's tolerable. But when you have an issue with a phone provider who can't do that, then those lines go nowhere at all. One of the good things about the i3 network that we put into the budget now is we get back to being like your residential phone line. We can put ring down programming in this situation where if 911 is just inundated with calls for this wreck or whatever, and we get a call from the south on a medical call, then that will, after 3 rings or whatever we choose to put in the program, it goes to Catoosa Date or wherever we do it, and we can call forward those trunk lines where we've never had that issue or had that availability to us at all. If it didn't come to 911, it didn't go anywhere. You get a dead tone, and you don't want your citizens to have that ever in their experience dealing with emergency services. So that is a very important thing. It needs to happen. I have documentation where we can show some concerns with some of our phone providers. This addresses that. We spend this money here. We get all the latest and greatest texting to 911. We get the call forwarding. We get the one call transfer on these 911 calls to other agencies that we deal with. One other thing to note is that there's 2 major vendors out there, and the one that we've been working with over the last year and a half on putting a project scope together, has the Alabama state contract. So they are fully capable and they have been proven. The other is AT&T. AT&T is proven. Their cost analysis comes a little higher, but I did want to get a reference of the cost, and the vendor that's in our package is less. With that said, also, we have because Dade and Walker rides on the state of Alabama's line, we'll get some calls that are intended for Alabama that comes into 911. So we have a system, a 1-circuit system that's part of the new technology in our center, to where when it's routed to that phone and it's an Alabama call, they can do the one-touch transfer, and that goes back to the Alabama 911. So it is a system upgrade, not a let's go out and get 3 vendor quotes or anything else. It's a piece of equipment that we have that we utilize for those overflow, the misdirected calls that should be intended for Alabama. We have that equipment in-house, And so my intent is to, it's an existing piece of equipment there, and we want to expand on their technology and bring it into, fully functional, operations in Walker County.
So you have some money left in the 2020 splosh that we could put toward things like that now.
Yes, ma'am.
And then some other, the larger capital things that are 5 years down the road, but we
Can
need to
go
start
to the
new
new
splosh.
Yes.
That's right. So similarly, that we've had this conversation before, that this money will move away from the budget items if the splosh gets passed.
But we've got to treat it like it.
That's right.
We're gonna treat it as it is in
Be
here, and
aware
then
of
if we
it.
get
That's right.
we go to the neg, then we can.
And you're talking about 2 months, because like this will go live October 1st. And if we know the next year's splosh gets passed in November, then we can amend this budget as soon as that money starts coming in the next year. Yeah. I'm sorry, did you have?
Yeah, the 671 you have there in capital, is that for this equipment you're talking about? Your total capital is 675.
Okay, yeah, so we don't have that total in that money that we're talking about in Splosh. There's about 300,000, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Around April 1st, the totals that they came up and verified, at the request of the commissioner, was right at $300,000 that could be applied to this project. We have another, project that is in there for capital outlay, a part of that $600,000. It's the phone system hardware itself. Right now, we're talking about the network, how the phone operates from telco to 911. Now we're at the phone system itself, the physical phone in 911. They're on a 5-year rotation, and it ends in September. So we have to replace that phone system. It's a similar situation. They run about $200,000 for that, and I put in this budget that you can pay the 29. It'll be $29,000 for the maintenance of it, and we pay for the equipment up front. Right now we're at 19. It goes up because they will build in 5 years, we'll be able to get our equipment replaced. Right now we paid a lower cost on our maintenance because we just bought the phone equipment and the regular maintenance. So I suggest that we pay the higher maintenance, so in 5 years, we're not sitting here with a different group of people trying to go through, hey, we need to buy another phone equipment again in 5 years. It's built into the budget, and our vendor, we've been with them for right at 20 years now, with the Zetron phone system. Bulletproof, we never had issues with it. We've had some hardware replacement things that go along with anything, but as far as technically it is sound. And so we look at the latest technologies, and my general assessment is it's Fords and Chevys, and what we have has well served Walker County over the years, and we want to continue that relationship and replace the phone system, and then have the little bit higher maintenance to be able to not have to come up with that next 200 or 250, whatever it's going to be in 5 years, to replace the equipment again. Bake it into the maintenance contract. I think it makes sense in moving forward for the citizens of the county. We added a Starlink. I think we talked about that some in the demo. Well, we've added one already with your permission. That's just a small increase of $350 maintenance. And what that does, it allows us in 911 and emergency management is to have consistent internet connection. Everything's running off the internet these days. And so it gives us the instant, if a fiber line's cut or your phone line's cut, the copper line's cut, we spin up the Starlink at satellite and we can provide that connectivity at 911. But we also had a vision of keeping it with our EMA equipment. And so a lot of times we'll get in Villa now, we're doing a search in Villa now, or we have outages when the big fires are going with all the phone lines and everything. And we can move that system, it's mobile, and we can move it wherever we need to provide emergency service support with the internet. So it's a solid investment for emergency management. Again, on this one here, this is the other department that's with half of my salary, these two, and I keep it away from 911 for the revenue issue. I'm sorry, we're on 911.
We can move to IT.
IT, okay. 911 budget also, we got a recording system, data master. The data master phone database provide the name, address of the location, before I move on, the name and location of the caller to our system. We have that as a third-party software also that does that. When we move away from our current process and go to the digital system that we just spent some time talking about, that goes away. The responsibility of the maintenance of that database, anytime somebody adds a phone, changes an address, deletes a phone, that happens every day. That database has to be maintained. The digital system that we're talking about, they take that responsibility, they manage that responsibility, and so we don't have to worry about it in-house anymore. And that maintenance contract, the data master will pull out of that maintenance cost also for 911.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to put one more thing too that's in the cost. Encryption for the radios, for the public safety radios. We've been fighting for that for several years now. It impacts the sheriff's department more so than it does anybody else. On big fires, the scanners are out there more prevalent in the public now. They have it on radio frequencies and on YouTube. And so we've had several occasions just in the past months that when we respond to a scene, the public sometimes beats the first responders to the scene. And that causes a lot of issues that I can get in at a later date, but it causes a lot of issues. The big significant one was just recently, the sheriff's department was responding to go pick somebody, to get somebody that they wanted, and they got that subject, but that subject told them, I was trying to get out of here, heard y'all on the scanner, they knew that the sheriff's department was coming, and it's so readily available now. Encryption for our radio system needs to be a priority to keep the public safe, but keep our first responders safe, because if a bad actor truly knows they're coming, then they're prepared, then that causes issues that we don't even want to talk about. So the encryption is in that cost also. It's a priority for us to try to keep it there, and we'll move on to IT. Okay. IT budget was the one I was leading to, is the other half of my salary with the full-time position. We also added the full-time position that had been in our budget for several years. we've been able to do that. We've added another, employee that has 20 years experience in the field, highly recommended, and has been making his rounds throughout the county with Jackie, and we've gotten good responses. I think all the work that has been reported back to me has been exceptional. So we've gotten to add in my area under me two great employees for the county that will be here for a long time. Training, continue education, you know, for myself and those guys. Hold just a second, make sure. We got a PACE program that deals with training also. The PACE program is in the New World system that covers emergency management, 911, fire department, sheriff's department, the software here at the commissioner's office, HR, payroll, everything. In IT, we have team leads at the department level that should be intimately familiar with the process of their software and what they do day to day. It's hard to get at the department levels people engaged in training and forward thinking on being able to understand the software. And so it really falls back on our department, on IT, to come in and do the everyday stuff that those people really need to do. It's, the PACE program will add $10,700 to this program. But what that PACE program does for the $10,700 is gives us 10 days on site for somebody to come in and issue the departments that we want to shore up. That this department, we get calls all the time and we don't understand this issue or that issue. We get them training on site. And also it will give 2 access passes to the conference, the yearly conference for the software across all these departments. It usually runs about $1,500, so it's a $3,000 value on that side also, to have those team leads, I call them team leads, that I can rely on to troubleshoot.
Experts.
Yeah, and so that I can rely on. They need to go to conference. They need to see the new changes, the upgrades to the software that's in their departments. And so I feel that not being able to get buy-in from all the other departments, it gives us the ability to, we know who our go-to is in those departments, and offer them time to go to that conference if they just pay for their travel responses.
So is that the 147? Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see, 401k, I mean, those are just calculations. I just wanted to be honest on there because the employee that was in there we never had 401k. It was myself and Jackie, we've been here over, 20 years, so we don't take advantage of the 401k part. We're on the old retirement. So the other one, the new employee that we brought in, they need to be calculated. All the new trainings and everything need to be calculated just to be right. An additional cost is Image Trend. That's the software the fire department is going to for their records management system, and that will be an additional cost in there. We added CalTopo. It's a small nominal fee, but it is going to serve the county as a whole. It's a online mapping piece of software that we run scene searches, we can do, any kind of response stuff that we can track the volunteers that come in, or the mutual aid agencies that come in. We give them a link, they link it, and then we can safely track those people, or we can track the areas that they've covered in a search, or whatever issue it may be in emergency services. That's a kind of just a quick overview. We're gonna push it out to countywide. We're gonna share it with the cities. We work with all the cities hand in hand, and that's something we wanna do, to provide that asset to them to just be able to utilize. Two-factor authentication is big. It's in there. We're rolling it out to the HR software. It's been needed, and we're getting it. If you go to, there's a lot of pushback for the user friendliness of two-factor authentication, but when you go to your bank account, when you do this or that, it's there in your daily life. It needs to be in on our system, and we're rolling out per department over the next several months to ensure that we have our basic financial software, payroll software, secure employee information, and so that's just another level of that.
Just a few more minutes.
Okay. Well, if I know we talked about a lot of big things or whatever, do y'all have any questions that you want me to concentrate on and ask?
Just so I understand this, we got kind of three budgets here.
Yes, sir.
Your EMA budget's going up by 144%.
The EMA budget, Shannon would just put in the little bit of whatever from the fire. Now we have half of my budget and a full-time person that we've never had.
Right, okay, I understand. Your 911 budget's going up by 67%.
Yes.
And your IT budget's going down, correct?
No, it's an increase of 14,000.
I see that number, but I see the 2025 amended number as well, or 1,231,000. I see your budget request at 1,217,000.
Some of the maintenance contracts under there will reduce that cost. I just don't want to misspeak to you.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you got wrote there, Angie, but I look back at these numbers and.
On the IT stuff, the maintenance contracts are going down to, right approximately 775,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they were.
So that's forecasted, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So would that be a decrease of 14,000? Did I do that?
So it won't show in the numbers because they haven't happened yet. But when will that change happen? In the next budget?
Yeah, this is gonna be the total cost from October.
Right.
On.
Yeah.
I mean, and one of
If I look at this sheet though, I'm just trying to understand, I'm not an accountant, I'm gonna miss it by a long shot. But that number's less than that number, so you got a decrease there, is that not correct?
Yeah, it's a decrease of about 14.
Right. So the number's right, it's a decrease instead of an increase.
Can I put an increase?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a big, yeah.
Oh, that's my
It's slight.
typo.
Yeah, it's slight, that's
It's
what
a
okay.
decrease, my
Okay,
typo,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right, now I'm good.
No, thank you for pointing that out. I'll make sure the paper changes.
These three for singing all day.
But we are, and we are though, we're adding a lot to all three of those departments. I think moving forward, we are being progressive and taking care of our citizens. So anything that y'all allow us to do will be a positive move.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Really
Curtis.
appreciate it.
Curtis, well prepared, my friend.
And that was a good thing the other day. I enjoyed it, I learned.
Thank you.
Yes, brother.
Ma'am, you ready?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Real quick. Hey, man, I'm a little back.
Yep, we'll do. recess, that'll be fine. Just what you're. I don't know about it. I don't know if we've got facilities. Do you know if we've gotten my signature in facilities?
I have, but
Can you go
I
ask
think he was with somebody.
Go ask them because every day I gotta sign something by 2:30 today. We're gonna take just a quick rest for a bathroom break. And we'll remember that the microphone and the video are still running, so we'll get you started here in just a few seconds. Thank you for being patient with us. And I will tell the audience that if there's sound outside the walls of this room, it's because there's construction going on out there, and I apologize for any background noise. Let's see, right here. Yeah. Excuse me for one moment.
February 2022. Somewhere around.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. I fixed this up. I didn't go as crazy as I used to have, because it's stressful weather. I looked at the moment.
Okay, let's resume after our little recess, and we are talking to Amanda Shropshire, who is our transit director. So will you kick us off? That's your budget.
Well, this is my first time ever being able to actually see or review the budget, so my knowledge is very slim, but I did the best I could do. What I kind of did was take the last 3 years and just kind of, I tried to keep it about the same. There's a little bit of changes in there, but that's really the most of it.
So really, we saw some COLA change 4%, salary increases for a few
Yes.
folks, and one transit bus is
Yeah.
the majority of the
Yes.
$138,000 increase.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why do we need another bus?
Well, I currently have 15. 3 are down at the moment. I have 2 that are out with motor issues, and then I have 1 that was in an accident last week. But the bus that we have coming is a bus that we were owed during COVID, and the supply chain got so far behind, and we had so much trouble with the contract getting the money and you got to get caught back up. So that's where that bus comes in at. It's actually one that's owed to us, and then hopefully next year we'll get 2 more.
And the 2 that have engine issues, how long have they had those engine issues?
Almost a year now.
Okay.
Almost
We'll
a year.
assume we can't look at those as those.
And then hopefully the one that was in the accident, hopefully that will be either replaced or back up and running soon.
Okay.
But the demand is there, the supply is not,
Yeah.
but we can only do so much. I have 17 employees and then 3 that are part-time, and I currently have 1 out right now on medical leave. But
Is your staff where you need to be?
I am staffed where I need to be. I can always use more per se as a part-time fill-in when I have vacation or sick leave or, just whatever may,
But your full-time staff's pretty good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you see an increase in your riders?
I do see
From
an
last
increase in ridership. A lot of the problem, like I said, is having the buses that are down. I can't, sometimes we have to say, look, can you reschedule your appointment, or can we take you shopping on a different day? Only because the demand is so high. I will say with DHS this year, there is some, I guess we're up in the air over the contract with DHS. In the past, we would do, the downfall in our trips right now is DHS. We're probably about 2,000 trips short with DHS money, but those clients can still, of course, pay and ride, but the contract is, they have nobody to fill that contract at the moment.
Commissioners?
Ballpark, what do you pay your drivers?
The start pay is $14.20 an hour, and then after they receive all the training, and then the 700 hours training, and then of course the CPR, first aid, the AAA, and the PASS, which is wheelchair securement and things like that, they go up $1. So it's $15.20.
I bring that up because I was talking to somebody with the school system this weekend. And they're looking at going to $20 an hour to bus driver, if they can't get them. But I guess for the drive the school bus, you have to have CDLs, right? Some type of,
You do, with,
And for
you
your
probably have to have
buses?
air brakes also. With transit, you do not,
Oh,
because
okay.
we don't have air brakes, and then we don't transport over 16 passengers.
okay, just curious.
The extra training is usually just the wheelchairs.
Wheelchair securement, it's like a defensive driving class, of course, the CPR and first aid. And that's usually most of it. Then the hands-on, of course, the hands-on training.
Okay.
She's squared away.
I guess you're good.
I mean,
They're only going up 8%.
I mean, I was gonna say, Brian, I don't wanna go any further, I think we're at a good point there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amanda, do you have anything else you want to add though?
I don't.
Okay.
You did a great job, we
Thank you, I
appreciate you.
appreciate it.
Your
Y'all
offices
come
are
see us,
good.
y'all come see us.
Yeah.
Well,
offices
yeah,
are good.
I call you from time to time, I feel
Yes.
complain, but I say, hey, man, that's a good job.
Yeah, she's
I hear good
very,
things, that's, I
very
hear
accessible.
good things all the time, so.
It's a service people don't, a lot of people don't realize it's there.
And
and
they
it's
don't.
affordable.
It is affordable, it's $4 one way,
Right.
and they don't realize it's there, and then sometimes they think that we're the homeless. But, you know, it's hard,
Yeah.
it's hard to juggle all of Walker County with what little resources that we
Well, and
have.
I rode a bus a couple summers ago for a whole day, and some of the locations that they go, it's just, those buses are incredible, and the drivers are incredible. So
It's a huge service.
it is a very, very good service.
It's a huge service. I have a young man that's physically challenged, that doesn't drive, that actually lives in a property we have. And he rides, to work and back almost every day. And that's how he gets to work, you know. It really is a good service for folks. And we're glad to see it continue to grow and prosper. And now, I do want to ask you one thing. The truck, the new bus that we've got coming is owed to us.
Mhm.
We still haven't paid for it though.
No, sir.
Okay, so it's coming and we had like on back order,
It was
now it's
ready.
ready to be picked up. Okay,
Yes,
I got
yes,
you.
that's
Okay.
correct.
All right, I'm good.
Well, okay, you,
Thanks,
okay,
man.
okay, well, let's.
That was
you on your
painless.
way.
Hey, that's what I like.
You ready for next year already, right? Thank you.
Thank y'all. Ready? Thank you. Thank you, Amanda.
Does that make sense what I wrote on there? Does that make sense what I wrote?
Tell us who you,
Rita.
what you oversee. Who you are,
I'm
what
Rick
you-
Carr, I'm over the main shop for the county.
And this is our fleet maintenance.
Yeah, fleet maintenance,
Mhm.
I always say shop. and it's-
That's all right, it's okay. That we are live and recording also, so I just want to make sure that the audience is clear on which department we're talking about now, so. You and I briefly met about your budget proposals, and this is one of your first times to actually, maybe second time to do your budget, so. I'll let you start with anything you want to say, and then we'll do some questions from the board.
I really don't have any questions. I know we had talked about, some stuff with repairs at the shop. I didn't know if that was included in this on the parts department side.
Yes, it is, and I think that you and I talked, a lot of these capital improvements can move off to the squash
Okay.
if we get that voted in, passed in November. So we're talking about that a lot with the other departments who are asking for capital improvements, repairs, things like that to the facilities. So if you want to talk a little bit, highlight, tell the board about what kind of repairs and what kind of equipment that you are looking to enhance.
Repairs, we're wanting to revamp the parts department, because it's just a array. We don't, over the years, stuff has not been taken out and done away with, so we want to make it more like a parts department. We want to put it where it's behind closed doors, on shelves, so we can use our equipment. We've gotten some equipment that we're going to barcode, so we can go through and get a more accurate assessment of what we have on the shelf and just enclose it where it's not so freely for everybody to come and go. It's pretty much that. And some of the equipment, just update like our forklift is, I think, old military
Yeah, it's very good.
and way big for
Still
what we
didn't have
need.
any brakes.
No, that was the other
The
one.
other one, okay. The one I knew we didn't have for years, it didn't have any brakes.
Yeah, the one I looked at, it's all electric and it's small, we can get it running in the shop. The one we have now, we have to empty the shop pretty much. Fill our drums and stuff like that, so I'm just looking at stuff like that, and a service truck with a boom, so that way I don't have to send multiple people out on a service call because of a weight thing or picking up something. Is what I would like to help, because they've advanced them a lot in the new service trucks and the booms now, so, and the controls of them, so that's just one of the major things.
How frequent do you think you go out, or not think, but how frequent does your team go out on the road to service on
They're on
site?
2 calls right now.
Okay.
So it's almost daily. When mowing season, it's pretty current.
Mm-hmm.
On mowing season, it's pretty current. And a lot of it's tires and stuff where they get in the ditches and cut the tires and stuff. And it'd be a lot easier with a boom truck to be able to manhandle a tire and load it or unload it, or just actually get it off the tractor. Because they now make a mechanism that wraps around the tire that you pick up with the boom and it manhandles the whole tire. So you just pick it up with the boom, move it out of the way, do the repairs, put it back on. One person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Rick, out of the 9 employees you have, give me a little rundown on what we've got out of those 9. Obviously, you're on the top of the food chain, and so how do we go?
I have 2 diesel mechanics, and I just hired one. We just had to let one go. I've got a prospect on another mechanic coming in. I have another guy that's my gas guy that does the service and most of the gas up on the police cars, and then I have an oil changer. But trying to get on top of the diesel mechanics that we have, so that way, that's been our biggest problem.
Hard to
is
find.
having one true diesel guy versus everybody else learning and getting it, you know. Luckily, I've got one guy that's good on the gas side of it, so that's pretty much where I try to keep him. And now I've got 2 good diesel guys, and the guy I'm looking at now to replace the one we just let go he's kind of on both sides of it, and he's real good with the electronic part of it, so hoping to get a meeting with him and get him involved in that.
You're helping you with that? You helping with that?
It's early on. I just contacted him or reached out to him. I have not talked to him yet. Just got word of mouth of this person, so I hadn't really got further with him.
Okay.
I just talked to the person that had told me about it and said he'd be a really good fit. Very knowledgeable. And I have a parts guy, and that's another thing with the one parts guy I have somebody to back him up if he's not out. I really like, once we revamp this parts, is to get somebody under him, because the guy we got now sending out the parts, he knows what he's told to go get, but he can't look at it and say, okay, this is exactly what it means. So I'd really like to have a backup parts guy as well as the guy.
That's not in the budget though, right?
No, not at this point, no.
That's fine, that's fair, just want to make sure I'm following you.
Yeah, that was something I'd like to do, you know, like again, for when he's out or out of place or whatnot, I'll have somebody that's knowledgeable that can step in. That we've not had ever.
Yeah. The repairs inside the building, we are planning to do that with the 2020 splosh money. So that's not in here. And the boom truck was one item, it was over $200,000, but
Yes.
we're thinking we might can put that in the splosh that's the only good thing that we talked about that is not in here.
On the current spot.
No, I think that would be the new one, yeah. Anything else we haven't detailed that you and I need to talk about?
No, I mean, the remodeling, you know, an office is.
Do you want to expand the shop to go out to the side?
Yeah, I would like to do that. I've not figured that in. It's just time-wise, I couldn't do that. I think with the current situation with the fire department, getting their guy and taking some of it off of us, I think by revamping the parts, we're able to open up a bay that's down there that's holding a lot of parts and inventory that we're using that is a bay.
Yeah.
So I would like to get the parts revamped so we can open that up and see how that works for us.
Yeah, no, we talked about the parts getting revamped in your words.
Yeah.
That's happening right now though, right?
we're in the process of going through all the parts and weeding out and
Inventory,
cleaning out
yeah.
and trying to get rid of everything that we don't need that's been there for ages.
Questions, commissioners?
I had one question about this, that stemmed from our last presentation, about the couple of the vans that have been out of service.
Oh,
like for a year.
Transit van?
With the motors or something, what's up with that? The year it's time to cut bait and fish.
Yeah, it had, the engine went down in it and it was put to the old administration. He said he was gonna handle it and see about taking care of it, getting it replaced or getting them to see whether they wanted to put an engine in it. We never got an answer.
So it's just sitting in limbo.
It's just.
Is it just one of those? Because what y'all said there were two that were out of service.
We have one just recent. One's been out of service for a while, and we finally moved it out of the way.
Okay.
But we just recently had another one go down.
Is it a motor issue as well? Looks like probably the same situation.
Probably. Yeah, it's gonna probably need an engine.
So somebody
It's
needs
just
to
a
move.
matter of going through the channels of,
Right.
of
Move and see
transit.
if they're gonna do it or if we need to
replace it.
replace it.
That's pretty much that.
I just was curious.
I have a question. So the fuel budget, it looks like it reduced by 450,000. Is fuel cheaper or you expecting it to go down or?
We changed over year before last, went from the standard standard non-ethanol gas to an ethanol gas, so the price dropped quite a bit going from that. Numbers wise, I don't know, but I know it did change, it did do quite a bit difference. Because it's considerably different.
I used the new fuel system Friday, and it's very nice. Just runs exactly like the last one, nothing to learn, so that was good, but it looks nicer for sure, and it's more efficient, I'm sure, on the inside.
It is, we got one little glitch, which is just, we're gonna have to go through and make sure that everybody's social, last four of their social matches up with the department.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got a few that's coming up and saying it's not matching.
Oh,
So it's just gonna be a department thing where everybody goes through and gives us,
Yeah.
make sure all their numbers are right and the departments are right.
good, okay,
But so far, that's all we have.
good, great. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you, Rick, we appreciate you being
Thank you.
here. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you. And just like that, we're back on schedule.
So Stacy's not here.
He actually is.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, I see him. I don't know why. I had him on vacation in my mind, but I will get him if we're ready for him. You ready? Thank you. Just have a seat right there and tell us who you are and what you oversee.
Stacy Hickman, I'm over the building maintenance. I oversee all the county's buildings and basically everything that the people of the county goes to, all the bills they come to.
So you have technically three departments. You have the facilities maintenance crew, you have the maintenance, the cleaning crew, and you have the mowing crew. So there are three different departments. Okay, all right, thank you for that. I did work on Stacy's budget a lot more than he did because he was not familiar with the system, and so we worked together, but I may know some answers that Stacy may not know. But this is a great exercise for all the department heads to go through so that they understand the money, how it gets here and how it goes away. So, Stacy, you have 9 employees total. That doesn't sound right to me. I think I may have made a mistake on that. And you have, I'm putting all the different functions together into one. 12, okay, I thought that I may have had that lower there.
Got 3 cleaning, 4 mowers, 4 James, Ricky, Gabe, and you.
Okay, all right, and yourself,
And so,
so that'd be 13. Okay, 13 year old, okay. Thanks for letting me fix that number. Pretty much, your budget stayed the same. When I did the numbers, I added a 4% COLA for those that had not gotten a raise yet. And, that's pretty much the whole increase of $130,000. The budget's running very lean right now. It's at 55%, which we should be around 65% usage, so we're below what we needed. So pretty much it was a pretty easy thing to me. Have you, in what you've learned and how you're using the staff here in our office to help you with invoices and POs, is there anything that stands out that we might need to be considerate of? Like you're using Anitra for a lot of your
Yes.
secretarial work.
Right.
Jessica helps a lot too. So I'm leading up to the fact that I didn't put it in here, but I think at some point you may need a secretary.
If I can't still use Nitra, because she does help me a lot.
Well, I'm not saying you can't, and it's working out right now. But we're all using her a lot.
Exactly.
So,
Maybe need somewhere else.
I'm just making a point to the board to be considerate of that, although I did not add a person into your. Now, we have an open position that could be reverted from a manager level position to an admin level position. So that money is in the budget, and it would save money by changing the job from a manager to an admin. So we could talk about that later, but that's the position that I was thinking. So, yeah. That's an open
What is that status?
I thought it was an open position now. I gotta confirm with you, but as of last Thursday, I'm pretty sure it became an open position.
You discussed it, and he's supposed to be back as far as Thursday. If he does not return to work,
That was last Thursday.
okay.
It was like the 29th.
Well, he's doing this Thursday, because of course I'll be on vacation. And so he told me that he's supposed to be back. If he does not, if he fails to come back this Thursday, this is.
Okay, I apologize. I thought it was last Thursday was the
Last,
deadline.
that they had discussed was this Thursday.
Okay, all right. Well, that is yet to be determined then, so. We'll put that on the back burner for right now. Let's see, what else, is there anything else that you're thinking, like, are there tools that we didn't talk about? Are there, they're good on vehicles, we've got everybody replaced vehicles or got their vehicles that they needed. Some are used, well, they're all used, you didn't get any brand new vehicles, did you?
I got 2 Dodges.
Those were brand new,
Yes,
okay, yeah,
box trucks.
right, that's right.
Got those in the vehicle that I'm driving.
What about the, tools or any kind of,
I mean, just like miscellaneous, Corey burned up his battery powered steel saw.
that's usually in the budget,
Right.
yeah.
Simple stuff like that, hand tools.
So nothing major,
I mean, maybe one of them will burn up, or drill might burn up, or something like that.
okay,
Simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
As far as most of the saws Rick uses, are decent to continue using, when you have any problem with them.
ladders,
We've
scaffolding,
got plenty of scaffolding and ladders.
okay,
Compressors, we got a nice new compressor. We just bought some nail guns. We got hoses.
okay, good.
We're set pretty good on all that.
I wanted to verify, because your budget is so low, I just want to make sure that, when I say low, it's at 55% usage is what I mean, when it should be 65%, so we're not using a lot of, but I also know that you guys are moving around a lot more than you were too, so that might zoom up pretty fast.
Right.
Didn't want to overestimate or underestimate, so.
Well, that's been moved from the time I've come back the first year, from us been moved from Rossville, focusing on the buildings down here. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on with the magistrate and the closure.
Of course, yeah.
And the contractors, and doing a lot of that work, so we're gonna have.
And the coroner's office
And the
and
coroner's office, we got it.
DHS.
90% complete, we're waiting on our cooler to come in for the morgue itself, and I'm gonna put it up together with me. That's why I did that when I was like, I'm using inmate labor to build, I saved some money on that, the installation of it. And then also did put in for a compressor and coolant, I can get Jet Marshall to do it, a fraction of the price of the company that actually does it. And we're already on contract with Jet Marshall on the building, so I will reach out to Shane, he's gonna work with me through that, so we'll get it cool. So that'll save us some money.
And that's about the last piece to the
That's the last
coroner's
piece,
office,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I've just got to get Carter's equipment out there, getting all the files.
Yeah, and we're expecting to move the magistrate into her new space by the end of this month.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And everything is on schedule with that.
Great.
We got some samples for some flooring, I will show you, you see that.
Uh-huh.
It's escalator, about that.
Good.
Is that what our meeting's gonna be?
Yes.
On the magistrate?
Yeah, in our June 5th meeting, I'll announce that, because it is this 30-day announcement.
Right.
Recommendation.
After June.
Yeah, but I want y'all to go over there and check it out and see what they've done. It's
Good.
very
They're
impressive.
actually putting in the ceiling grid today. They should be finishing the courtroom, and then the lobby is completed. And Corey has got a major water leak up at the shop that they're addressing this morning, so he's not down there right now finishing the lighting. He's gonna set all his lighting in the grid this morning at the shop.
Yeah.
That come up this morning.
Sure.
They're having clues and having some pressure reducing valve, the top busted. So he's having to dig up, we may have to dig up some concrete up there,
Mhm.
because it's in a hole, it's just about this big, and he's got his arms down in there.
Oh, my
He reaches
goodness.
and do all this, so there's a piece of concrete we may have to tear up.
Well,
So-
it is what it is, but we don't want anybody getting hurt doing it too, so.
It's needed to be addressed.
So let's talk about the Family Dollar, sorry,
Yes.
I should have said that, the new elections office. We're gonna have the old sign taken down out in the yard.
Yes.
Just a highlight of where they are in that.
We've got the
renovation.
wall built in the back.
Firewall.
It's completed, got stamps on it, fireproof, 2 hours, all that. According to Foster, we had to have all that. So all that is done. We discussed the framing.
Mhm.
We're saving $20,000, not going with the steel studs, we're going with the 2x4, because we all know we're all builders. Your electrical will be more, recoating, and the stud boxes and all that will be more if you want to steel. It's not a big deal. I think either way, it's gonna be okay. The architect kept telling me it was a metal building anyway. I said, no, sir, it's a block building. He said, well, you got a metal building, let's just go with metal stud. I said, but I got a block building, and this will save me X money.
Yeah, as long as the fire marshal
And I did
is fine
best
with
stuff
it.
with
and-
Foster,
Yeah,
and he said, that's fine, don't have any problem. The
appreciate
only
you.
thing I do have a problem with the architect, I won't get with Danielle and whoever the powers to be, the front, say this is the glass front right here, and put a wall right in the middle of the glass front. I wanted this to be more welcome for the people to come in, but right now you use this door to come into the admins, we use this door to come in the actual boat into the people. And I think this should be opened up more, so when you walk in, it's the actual lobby.
You go either or.
Yes, and if you pull it now, you'll see the end of the wall.
Yeah.
And then it's a back.
That's how the original plan was done, I think, I don't remember, but when they got open the room right there.
Yeah, I thought so. Yes, sir.
Well, just let me know when Danielle wants to look at it. We'll,
Yes, I would
everybody's
like to
welcome to
Just
go.
a frame wall.
Yes, it's
Just nothing.
yes, just a
Take it
separate.
out.
Yes,
So it's
just
not
separate.
even there yet.
No, it's nothing there.
Okay,
And I
okay, I thought
thought
you, okay, you just.
I told the
Draw
guys
it.
to hold off until we could address that.
Yeah.
Because I would like that to be more welcome as a lobby before you go into this room. And then when you come out, you come into the lobby, then you go use the
Good
door.
idea.
So if you got a line or what have you, you know, they're not
Mhm.
going to this room to get to where they need to go. They come to this lobby and then go to where they
Well, thank you for keeping the strategy in mind, but also trying to save some money too.
Yes.
That's good. Appreciate that. Commissioners, any questions? Mr. Gaines?
Good. It's good, if you cracking the whip, got everybody rocking and rolling. You know, I know that's what you're doing, because I know you, so that's what I
We're
need.
in the process of fixing this little knee wall right now. Stop the work from back here.
Yes,
because the
we
doors,
heard that going on out there, yeah, thank
it's
you.
actually falling off, which can be a hazard for people to park right there.
Mm-hmm.
And the folk just, you know, walking, I mean, it's already cracking. There's a gap in that part, and that's a lot of weight, you know that.
If it rains.
Exactly. So, stop the work for that. They will come back at 3 and finish it up this evening. It's now, they started on Saturday, they worked Saturday and Sunday on it, this weekend, plus the court and everything. But I try to work around the courts and all the other people that I deal with
Yeah.
in my days, so.
Well, they were here
A lot of
Saturday,
my-
because I saw them.
Yeah, a lot of my contractors are real good about working after hours, accommodate us however they have to for the, you know, for our court system and what have you.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else, then we'll let you get back to your afternoon.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Mark, one more time, looking for that resolution.
Do a recess for lunch.
Yeah. We're taking lunch on.
Yeah, we have to, I think we have to officially, recess first.
Thank you. Okay, we are at, the stopping place for our recess for lunch. So I will officially end the morning session at 11 a.m. We'll be back at 1 p.m. Thank you. All right, we are back for the afternoon session of the budget meetings for Walker County. It's 1 o'clock, and our next department is John Persley. Would you tell us what you oversee, John?
Yeah, I'm John Persley. I oversee the planning and zoning, building inspections, stormwater, and code enforcement.
Thank you. We're ready to listen to you.
So do you guys have a copy of just a brief summary that I did as well, as far as, I think that was sent to everyone as well, as far as, so how our budget, or how my expense budget is printed out, starts off with code enforcement, so we could start there. In the 2026 budget, I requested an additional code enforcement officer. And then everything else expense-wise, of course, you know, the retirement contribution went up due to the fact that, you know, as you increase pay, and increase what you're paying out, that's going to increase as well. I went in there and added a percentage of my pay in there to split my pay up between code enforcement, building inspections, and planning and zoning. It does not currently reflect that. I think, I was a little confused as to where my pay was coming out of before, but I believe it was coming out of code enforcement, and at the time I was not involved in code enforcement, so I went through and cleaned some of that up and just made it to where it reflects accurate pay.
Thank you.
And so that's how that reflects. And so in order to bring an additional code enforcement officer in, and then with the additional increases, it's looking at $11,493 increase for the 26 fiscal year from 25. And that's with adding my pay in there and bringing in an additional officer. There is some challenges to bringing additional staff in, as me and Ms. Teams has discussed, due to the just where it placed them. We're somewhat tapped out on the room. You know, we built a small office in the back before, and I know there's been some discussions and disagreement on that, what we need, but you can't just, you have to have the workspace to bring employees into the work. So my summary states on that, and that is including a cost of living increase of 4% for all staff members as well. And then the building inspections was actually decreased the budget by $6,600 by just getting it a little, getting it more accurate as to what we were asking for. That is with adding my portion of my pay to that as well. 4% increase in pay for staff members. And then I also added in $3,500 additional dollars, because what Mr. Creekmore and myself have been working on and looking at for the past few years is doing an online permitting process. We're one of the only jurisdictions around that does not offer that currently, and that's such a benefit. One of the biggest benefits to that is when a building inspector goes out and we result in inspection. When we enter it in to our computer in the truck, it sends them an email at that time. So the contractors gets the email as soon as you're finished with the inspection. That saves a lot of time for them, and as well as the office staff, with the ladies there that spend a tremendous amount of time answering those calls. Hey, have they been out here yet? Have they done the inspection yet? What time will they be out here? So as soon as they get that inspection and resulted, it's just real time and accurate as if they passed or failed, and that also helps the contractor establish their day moving forward. If it failed, we're going to send a crew out there, etc.
So you haven't got that in place yet,
No, sir.
but you're looking for it, yeah.
Yes, sir. That's correct. So that is
very last
Fifty-four
one.
to 420? Yes, that is correct. That's just for, the software to incorporate that in. And that's, pretty much a minimal expense as far as to get that up and rolling. Curtis and I met with them probably a year or so, year and a half ago. We tried to get it established at that time, couldn't move forward with it, didn't have any luck. So we're really excited and would like to move forward with that moving forward. And so that is including allocating a portion of my pay as the director and building official, and then also 4% raise. I was able to get just accurate numbers over the last 3 years and what we're training to do, and was able to decrease that budget by $6,600.
That's impressive to do all that. And you still reduce the overall budget for that
Yeah.
department.
Yeah, that was, I know the building inspections and planning, we're not part of the enterprise fund, we're part of the general fund, so we technically do not make money, but we do we're in the black every year for these departments, and so we do bring funds in for the services that we offer and that we do, and so that's always good, that we can cover our expenses by what we do, so. Any questions about those two departments?
Hang on, I'm not hang on. Go ahead and do the next department. No.
All right, so planning and zoning, and so planning and zoning and stormwater is all under 7410, Department 7410. And so, including, I had a 4% pay, cost of living added to this department. Also allocating a portion of my pay to that. And my little summary on the bottom there explains that, really not asking for more. We've got, our biggest expense in there in the office besides the overhead is supplies. Papers went up each year. And so each year I usually add 15 to 18% for just an increase in materials. And our engineering services, if you look in the planning, we actually have reimbursement put into our engineering services, which is 0.90 on there. So usually we had 15,000 for the engineering services, but when we get and do land disturbance permits, we actually charge for that. And so it was kind of skewed. Each year we were in the red, showing that we expensed more than we actually did. So a year ago, got with Greg, and we actually have a different line item that I do the POs under now, and it's actually a reimbursement because we charge to do those soil and erosion plans as well as stormwater. So it just gives you an accurate number instead of just always looking like it's costing you more than it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the 15,000 we do use a year for engineering services, but in the past it looked like we were in the hole and we actually weren't. We're getting paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a line item that we had added in there so it actually reflects an accurate number. But there is an increase in those departments, and a lot of that is due to just pay adjustments previously, and just getting into accurate numbers that jurisdictions are paying. So there was an increase of $78,300 from 25 to 26 in planning and zoning, but 51 of that was already allocated in the 25 budget.
Mm-hmm.
So between, so it's really 31,000. So altogether it's a 4.5% increase throughout the departments.
4.5 overall, you're saying?
Yes, sir. That's as a real, yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
If you allocate if you look at what's already been out
Yeah, I see.
from 25 into 26, it's
Yeah, because on page 2 of my summary, it tells you where they are in using their budget
I saw that,
dollars.
yes, ma'am.
So that's where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
It was already there.
Right.
Yes, ma'am, it was. And some of the pay from previous years, we always had a little bit left over, so I was able to get an accurate number as to what they are, and that's how I was able to decrease some with adding my pay to the building inspections. And same thing with code enforcement, to bring an additional employee in and still be over by 11 was pretty good. Because I mean, the cost of an additional employee is well over, $11,000, as you know, but there was money in there, and gives us an opportunity to bring more staff as we were going to need moving forward. Like I said, there's some challenges with that just due to space and whatnot, but there's things we can work on and figure that out moving forward when that time comes.
I neglected to put on the board summary that I did, how many employees you have in each department. Can you tell me that?
Yeah, so right now, currently, we have 2 employees. Well, yeah, two full-time code enforcement officers, 2 full-time building inspectors, and then 3 in planning and zoning with myself.
Okay, and you're gonna add an additional code, so you have. 3 now.
That's the goal, yes, ma'am.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, moving forward, not within the next few months, but these guys are getting trained up. Things are moving forward. I think we're really doing some good stuff, so
Yeah.
probably need an additional code enforcement officer in the near future moving forward, just trying to figure out a couple of the challenges of space. Because you guys know where we're at. We're just kind of in the corner there, and
Yeah.
it works good, but we
No
get drawings
growth.
in every day. Yeah, we have no room for growth as far as in the planning office. You have to have a plan review room. We review all the drawings that come in, have to sign off on them, and so we're just really tapped out on space and trying to work on a few things and figure some stuff out. But as of right now, not today bring a guy in, but before the end of the year, absolutely, we could use it.
First quarter of next budget.
You need somebody in codes more so than in inspections, right?
That's right, yes, sir. Yeah, our inspection team do a great job. I know we worked close with them before.
Brandon and Jack.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And you got the 2 young guys who just hired in codes.
Yes, and so the code enforcement's doing a great job as well. They're out there beating the streets up every day and really doing some good stuff. And so we just want to keep that rolling moving forward.
The code department, if I may, have been understaffed and no staff for several years, so that department work is behind.
Yes.
And the county is so large that I feel like I agree with John, it's important to have a full staff so that the whole county can get attention. And we can also help other cities too. And just last week, John himself helped Catoosa County out. They had an emergency situation over there happen and they needed some help in their code. It was planning.
Inspections.
Yeah, inspections. And so John was able to drop and go there because he had his staff covering his stuff over here, so.
Yeah, and then we did help them to kick off their event that they were wanting to do, and then additional day last week, one of the rainier days when we were slowed down some, really couldn't get out and do stormwater. All 3 of us were actually helping them out, so it was good to do, be able to lend a hand. Real proud that where we're at to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I was proud that Catoosa County asked us, so.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Anything else for Mr. Pursley?
No, ma'am.
John, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am, that's it.
Okay,
That's it. Like I say, thank you for the opportunity.
appreciate you being prepared, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, John. Y'all doing good? Appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Let me go get, see if they leave right here. Hey, you ready? Let's go to music. Hey, Jenna. If you'll bring that door with you, thank you. And just sit right here beside Christian. What's your name? No, just kidding. And tell us who you are and what you oversee.
I'm Bailey Clements, I oversee animal control and animal shelter.
Okay.
So animal services.
All right, thank you. We are videoing live and have live audio, so just so you know. So I have given the board, which we only have Mr. Hart with us today, but the board has gotten the summaries, and so I'll let you do whatever you want to do about your, if you have anything to add, or, well, then I'll just start asking you questions about that, okay?
Already pretty simple.
Yeah, it wasn't,
Not a whole lot.
so about a year, maybe two ago,
2023.
the animal services was combined with animal control and animal shelter. So, the combination of those two gave my report to you guys, made it look a little odd because there was no numbers for, but I purposely showed that there was no numbers in either one from previous years. So, we didn't add a lot to this budget. Mainly it was the 4% COLA for the employees who had not gotten raises this year. We talked, Bailey and I talked about the fees going up, which we are going to be voting on in the June meeting, and that will help a great deal in bringing money back into the general fund, which has to expend some money to sustain these departments at this time. But yeah, we'd like for you to talk about your, the people that work there, like the folks you have at the shelter, like how many are there, how many are in codes, and their daily operations. Maybe just an overview would be helpful.
We have 5 on the animal control side, the director, 4 officers, and our dispatcher. Over at the shelter, we have the shelter director, the manager, and then about 6 or 6.5, we have 1 part-time kennel mix. So overall, I think we're looking at about 17 between both departments.
And they're both working out of the same building?
We're in 2 separate facilities. So animal shelter still up on North Marble Top, the officers and our dispatcher are over at the road department.
Okay.
So
They took over the transit's old trailer,
Okay.
so they're right outside the shop. And you have a receptionist there.
we do, our dispatcher
Sorry,
is
dispatcher.
full-time out of that trailer as well. So we have the guys especially splitting a lot of their time between 2 separate locations. Within a month right now for animal control, we're averaging anywhere between like 120 and 150 calls a month. Up at the animal shelter, intakes are outrageous, we're over 100 a month, closer to 200. We also have a volunteer program now, so we're bringing in volunteers to help with our daily care, enrichment, play groups, things like that.
What's the plan for adoptions? Is there any programs that you guys are heading up this summer, or you just did one in May?
Just did one in May, and then we'll have another event in the shelter towards the end of the summer. We also have an event that's partnering with Rock City, so we will be up there at least 3 times. Bringing some of our adoptable animals. We're gonna start extending our hours for the public as well, opening on weekends, and probably a little later one night during the week as well. And then throughout, we will have separate, so this weekend we're hoping for like a little adopt-a-thon. Our numbers are real high, so to also kind of bring folks in on our first Saturday that will be open, as well as different things. So waiving fees for animals that have been there longer than 3 months, things like that throughout the summer. And starting working with Lafayette Public Library right now. We talked to them a little last week about doing just little events for the kids, with the officers and staff, and maybe an animal or 2, whether it's reading for 30 minutes or something to involve the kids as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I think the more community effort we put out in education and training, that people will start responding more positively to the
Absolutely.
shelter. Thank you for opening on Saturday, and then whatever day you decide to open late on the weekend or the week, that'd be great. What about the microchip? Just a little heads up before we have our Thursday meeting. Can you give us a little preview of what you might be telling us on Thursday about the numbers? How many vouchers have we given away so far?
We have given away around 85.
Okay.
At this point, that doesn't include some of the ones where we're still partnering with No More Puppies Georgia. So for those that have the more urgent needs for spay and neuter that
are not within that 40 per month, they are working with them to get them in for your extremely low cost as well.
But you have over 300 on the list, right? And
Probably
wants,
over
needs.
400 now
400
at this
now,
point.
yes.
400 requesting vouchers.
And yes, and I would say that's 400, it's at least 1,500 animals. Most of those
Right.
people have
More than one.
more than one animal.
And you're doing so many per month.
So it's 1 dog or 2 cats per voucher. And then in the event that somebody doesn't show up or only uses, like they only have 1 cat that they need, well, that's still funding for that 1 voucher. We'd leave it for another, so we would reach out to somebody that has only 1 cat.
Mhm.
So we're making sure that, whatever's allotted to that voucher, we're using them all.
So the voucher program has added a lot of extra work to y'all, but
Oh, yes.
the end of it will help in the long run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any ideas about maybe extending that beyond 40 a month and maybe doing 50 a month? I know we started with that because of the money we have available. We didn't want to expand it too fast, and we didn't know how popular it would be, but now we see it's very popular, so pretty soon we're going to start looking at where
Yeah,
are
so we have discussed looking after our 3rd month, getting at least
Okay.
a 90-day total between all of the vets in the county, as well as the citizens and members. What are we able to do? Are we able to bring it up a little more? Should we allocate, 2 vouchers to the people with only cats versus dogs, since the cost of cats is cheaper, and how we're able to spread it a little further.
And cats multiply much faster than dogs.
Much faster, much faster.
Okay, good. So there's a 90-day plan to reevaluate the
Yes.
process. Okay, good. Great. I know you weren't prepared to talk about that, so thanks for the.
Well,
That's you.
I think on Thursday too, we'll hit a little more.
Okay, good.
Some of our
Yes.
numbers and some of the upcoming,
Perfect.
yeah.
That'd be great. Mr. Hart, what questions do you have for Bailey on either her departments?
So remind me, I'm supposed to know, but I forgot to get them. So the voucher program, those funds are coming from donations, is that right? That's what I
It's
thought.
100% donation based.
Okay.
There was over $60,000 available in that fund at that time when we decided to do this.
Yeah.
It'll dwindle pretty quickly.
Oh,
So,
yes.
but we are keeping,
We
we
are.
are getting more
And
donations
we are having
too.
more, we've made donations.
But with the 60,000, how many animals were there? And what's the average cost per animal? I mean, it's
400.
Yeah, several hundred.
So that'd be 150 animals. If we didn't get any more,
Mhm.
we would have done 60, you said. right?
Mhm.
So we're not quite halfway.
And we have, there has been a lot of generosity from not even just our county, but several out of state, from a lot of the, news interviews and things people have been saying.
Great.
So we've been getting donations from, as far out as like Wyoming,
Wow.
people are sending,
That's
so,
great.
we're very excited about that.
So maybe we can extend it a little longer than we even thought we
Mhm.
could. Good. Thank you for that update. Let's see, regarding your budget, yeah, it was just an increase of $24,000, because the budget is so high now. Just trying to be very mindful of what dollars are needed to be spent there. And of course, when we don't have as many animals in the shelter, the overall cost of the shelter will go down.
Right.
It's not even, it's more the care of the animal that
Mhm.
costs
That is
most
our
of the time.
cost. Because we also have to, so for whatever, say that we're 60,000 for that many vouchers,
Mhm.
we have to spay and neuter our animals to get them out. So when we're sitting at 150, 200 animals that have to be done, the higher our numbers, the higher our, cost for surgeries, cost of care in general. So, yeah.
But again, this is one of those departments that really it's really being focused on now by the leadership. So
Yeah.
I believe it just gonna take some time for the community to start responding. But they're responding positively.
Mhm.
And I seen your notes, Angie, that you're recommending that they, kind of 2 separate budgets, because it's 2 separate departments, but Bailey will still manage those departments, is that?
I have not had this conversation with Christian yet as our new CFO, so he may see it
Okay.
another way. But in my mind, I wanted to see the expense of and you can break it out, it's not like there's 50 people in it. So I'm not passionate one way or the other, just a note that I made, comment there. So Christian can lead us down the right path on that.
Sounds like separating is right. If they're 2 different locations and definitely option.
It's one division, but 2 different departments.
It's difficult to see like what's being allocated to who, whether it be the vans for transport or the officers for their daily stuff, whose equipment is
Fuel.
costing what, who's, you know, we can't, I think we only can access it's 2023's numbers.
Yes.
So we can't see even in the past what the general amount for each was.
Very good.
Well, Haley, thank you so much for being prepared and being here today. We appreciate all your hard work. Thanks your staff for us too.
Absolutely.
Right. Good. Miss Jenna. Jenna, you ready? Just sit right there beside Christian. And tell us who you are.
Jenna Cedars at Mountain Creek Farms, the director here.
Let me catch up real quick, Jenna. Sure. Okay. Yes, so I'll just turn it over to you because I know you're very well prepared, so go for it.
Well, thanks for letting me come today. So just to kind of recap from last year, over the past 6 months, we have started implementing our strategic plan to revive the Cove. We're looking at, of course, we have 287 acres and then 19 total buildings on the property. So last year we were given a little more money. We've made great progress with that. We've been able to make updates and improvements to the Cove House, 4 of 7 of the cottages. And by those, we've repaired some of the walls, the painting, new linens, and new furniture. So once we've also been able to add personal touches with the decoration, kind of with the history of the farm as well. And then with this year, the budget for this year is pretty consistent with last year's. So we do anticipate more revenue, mostly due to the improvements, which has allowed our rental prices and packages to increase, in some cases double. So we also asked for more money in advertisement opportunities. We had our employee appreciation event just recently, and a lot of people, even working with the county, didn't even know that we were there. So I think that there's a lot of missed opportunity. And then, of course, the revenue that we're showing, that's not our max potential, it's just the start. So we're gonna add some more additional larger public events and then more outdoor type events, such as more disc golf tournaments and another trail run. We already have one of those once a year, but we're gonna do that twice a year. And then on the expense side, the wages, the 4% there. And then we did take $4,000 from repairs to our advertisement budget. And then we do need a new website. Ours is from 2013, so it's not compatible with a lot of things this day. Communications, we removed the television service and the unused phone lines, and we have officially went to fiber, and that installation is happening now. So that's really our.
Was y'all's fiber one of the areas covered under the Windstream grant?
Yes, through it, well, it's through Kinetic.
Yeah,
Also,
I don't think it's part of the.
I don't know if they went on that side or not.
Yeah, it's taken a while for us to get it, but we finally have it accessible to the whole property, so.
So all the cabins have it, will have it. Yeah.
All the cabins, the show barn, our office area, and then the latest update did not include the RV park. We won't have it there until we have a structure that we can fit
Yes,
it
I was
in.
gonna say, because there's no building that's right.
Yes.
So you took $4,000 from something, or?
We just kind of moved it over from the building repairs.
That's what I thought you said.
Mhm.
Okay.
We just put it into the advertisement. We were kind of thinking, you know, we've made some repairs and we just need to start promoting so that we can start generating
Yeah.
more.
So that's how the current budget, you just moved some stuff around?
Mhm.
Okay.
Just-
Yeah, gotcha,
yes.
okay. All right, so just overall $15,000 increase from last year.
And a lot of that too was in the Wi-Fi, the fiber.
Okay.
We did take, of course, the television service and the unused phone lines off from the previous year and
Mhm.
add in with it. But
Of course, the more usage you have, the more your supplies will.
Right.
So I guess you balance that out with what you
Yes, we were
anticipate.
able to make good progress, with what we were given this year, and basically I took the same thing and moved it, with supplies for this coming year. It was
Okay.
just the building repairs that we have pulled a little bit out of.
Yeah.
Advertising.
Okay. Yeah, so from 24 to 25, you did get a little bit more money.
It wasn't
In your
a whole lot,
budget.
but it's been a good
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. Okay. And you went up on your rates already.
We have.
Does that include, just being used to, not just overnight stays?
Overnight stays and the weekends. And those will continue to increase the more, that we get advertising involved.
Yeah. Will your website be able to be, a person can rent it online themselves?
They can right now, it's just very, like, it don't go anywhere, so you can see that we have them for rent, you can rent on there, but it just sends us a message, so you can't process payment, you can't see what our availability is, but you're so far.
Yeah, just getting us up
It's
into the
very
21st
generic.
century.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha.
For sure, and our pictures, I mean, we've not been able to really update anything on there since then. So.
Yeah. And I have been into, one of the cabins in the house, and since they renovated them, I guess it wasn't renovation, it was more just updating the decor. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It will make people want to stay there.
And I love that we've been able to incorporate too, like, the history, because a lot of people are like, what is this place? Whatever happened here? So we've been able to find old pictures and old information of the working farm and put that in there. So,
Great, thank you.
yes.
Mr. Hart, you have anything else?
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know that Pam's here yet, but we're gonna see. Thank you. Pam's not here yet, so, do we wanna take a quick recess then?
Yeah, we got about 30 minutes.
He'll probably be early if I had to guess, but, we'll take about 15-minute recess. All right, I'm not sure how do I have to gavel that? We're at break?
Sure.
So we'll fix the screen for us. We're back in session from our recess. This is we're a little ahead of schedule, so we'll get started whenever Mr. Gilly is prepared to talk to us about his budget.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're very welcome, thank you. The board did get the summary and the information that you had sent to me before, but I understand you have more information for them to have today.
Yes.
Mr. Hart is the only board member with us this afternoon. I can get the information to the other board members on your behalf, though. Or Lisa will, one of us will.
Sounds good.
I'll take one. Sure. Thank you. And Payne, have you met Christian, our new CFO?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great.
Good to see you. Thanks.
So highlights, just to get us kicked off, Payne, go ahead and say your name for the video and what you oversee, please.
My name is Payne Gilly. My title here at the county is Director of Solid Waste and Environmental Management, and currently direct the landfill operations and various environmental projects in the county.
Okay, thank you. So you have 12 employees, is that accurate? Okay. All positions filled, nothing open?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, you should have a new manager.
That's correct.
He's what,
And,
2 months into his role now?
Yes.
Okay.
Done a fine job.
Good, good. Awesome. And you're doing real well in your budget because you're only 50% into it, even though we are further into our year than, so in other words, you have more money left in your budget than you've spent. So that's good. So you're gonna tell us how you're gonna manage that next year.
Yes, the new proposed budget's 2.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
And It's actually a decrease from this year's budget. And the reason for the decrease is that we have to look at our volumes and what's coming down the road. So it's basically a rate times a unit for mattresses, refrigerators, household waste, construction demolition waste, brush and trees, things like that. There are several revenue streams, our metals, our brush and trees, our household waste, our construction demolition waste, and our mulch and chips that we sell to the public. We also transport to Alabama several times a week. The volume is actually down a little bit more this year than in previous years.
Why do you think that is? Cost or?
Well, compared to the other
ways to dispose of it, or?
Thank you.
Compared to the other landfills in the area, we're right in there with our rates. We're actually less than most. I have found out that one of the major waste disposal companies has a clause in their contract that if you're a commercial hauler for them, you're going to bring in a minimum every month. Right, and it's actually not bad because they can project. They have a firm number every month, and if you don't make that number, then you still have to pay anyway. But if you go over the number, then you get a credit deduction. But really, that could be part of it. We're taking more of our construction demolition waste at the transfer station, or nearly all of it. I mean, we do feed some up to the C&D. Just kind of keep things rolling up there. But for the most part, it all goes to the transfer station. It's kind of small, sometimes it's fine, but people may not like that aspect of it. But that waste stream is down. So things are just, and also we're coming out of the COVID years. We had some pretty good numbers through 2022, and now we're coming out of that. Things are kind of going back to normal. So it may be an adjustment down to reality.
Is that one reason why you thought you needed to reduce your budget?
Well,
Did you see the forecast?
Yes, I didn't want to overestimate.
Yes.
So I looked at our trends through the year. See, we project to the end of 2025, and then based on that number, that goes into the calculation to project 2026. So I really wanted to be on the conservative side because we may have overestimated this year, 2025.
Yeah, because you're 50% in your budget, so you didn't need all that. It may be, we don't know yet. We're not done with the year, but.
Well, yeah, and this, our rates are going to go up as well. This budget is actually based on $53.50 a ton, and our current rate's $49. We haven't had a rate increase since
Okay,
2023.
that's very important to say. So as he is now budgeting for next year based on the rates, he did the same thing this time last year, but the rates never went up.
Right.
But you still didn't use the 50%, or I almost said this, you used 15% less than what you needed in your budget.
We still have money.
So I appreciate you seeing that and reducing the overall budget.
We try to be realistic
Yeah.
with the budget. It's
Yeah.
not just looking at a
That's being very
category and
realistic.
marking it up.
Yeah.
And some of these, in this handout that I've prepared, there's a good map here that shows our facility and basically how the site's divided. We have the brush pile is one area, that's one bucket of money. Site 1 is another bucket. Site 2, which is the C&D landfill, that's another bucket. And we have the administrative portion, that's another bucket. And then we have our revenues from our metals and our tree and things like that. I went through the budget and looked at our revenues. I mean, in these charts, I've got where we stand right now with the blue line. That's our actual cost so far today, our actual revenue or expenses, depending on which one it is. And then I have the number that our software package, our accounting software package projected that we will be at the end of the year. And then where I projected that we either would like that amount for our budget or that's the new budget, based on the expenses that we have. So some of these are pretty good. Some show fairly good trends, but each bucket is based into personnel. But we lumped all of our personnel into our administrative bucket, administrative and landfill. Then we have the transfer station, we have the C&D, we have the inert. And I picked the major earners or expenses out of each one of those buckets and created some charts. They kind of show where we are, what the projections are, and where we'd like to be, where we'll be next year. And I think that breaks it down to just visual. I'm a visual person. I like to see.
I appreciate that.
I like to put data in charts and things like that. One of our big expenses this year has been equipment costs, repairs. Yes.
Because your cost of big package, mostly swaps for that, right?
Well, our purchasing,
But your repairs.
but our repairs come under our budget. And we have some older equipment, even the equipment that we use daily is older. And with high hours too. We have a 938 wheel loader that's got 20,000 hours. You know, our tractor trailer that we purchased a few years ago was botched. Money's got 500,000 miles on it. Of course, we bought it used, but that's been a big expense for us keeping up with that. We had a warranty for it that worked for us, but now that the warranty's expired, all that comes out of the budget. So basically, we spend what we bring in.
Right. Which is good.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're self-sustainable, is that the right word?
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I tell my kids they do it.
Of course, the ultimate goal is for it to make money. Of course, it's a revenue generating department. Should be.
And that's where the rates
Yeah,
come.
right, exactly.
And we're right now we're paying. Should I go into that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so where our base rate is $31.49 a ton, then since we're delivering the material to Alabama, they charge $1 for every ton of waste that comes in from an adjacent county, out of state. So, we're at $32.49 a ton. That's getting ready to go up to $33.42 a ton. So they raise their rates every year, whether we do or not. And we haven't had a rate increase out there since 2023.
Right.
So this budget that I prepared is actually based on $56 a ton for in county and $60 a ton for out of county, plus some other increases in mattresses, refrigerators. We do have a new revenue stream going out there. It's Freon recovery.
Oh, yeah.
And David May is our certified Freon recovery technician, and he's doing a good job pulling Freon out of the used air compressor, refrigerant systems.
Which is
And that's the revenue, that's generated revenue.
Right. We still have yet to build the containers we're ready to ship, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of money we get out.
Yeah. How big is the container? Like, what's the volume of the container?
I believe it's like 25 pound, 50 pound.
Okay.
It's not the size of the propane.
Does it have a measurement on it, like how full it is?
We have to weigh it.
We weigh it, okay.
He's developed a nice spreadsheet.
Uh-huh. Great.
Keep track of all.
Good. So in 24, I'm going to go back too far, but in 24, which is the last page of the information I gave you guys, it was a negative, you were in the hole, 35,000, not a lot of money. And then last year, Or is that 25? No, that's 25, that's 24. Yeah, then this year, and maybe Christian can help me. It's 154,000. I think I'm misreading it. I think 35 was a positive number. Yeah, I had it upside down. So you made $35,000 in 24. Okay, gotcha. Okay, now I understand. So this year, is it projected to be a negative 154? I think I did write that somewhere.
Yeah, we're
Projecting that, yeah, gotcha. But that could change too, but.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're rolling into our most productive months. I mean, we've, from about October through the spring,
Yep.
April, March, April, it's kind of slow.
Okay.
But hopefully we'll gain some ground.
Yeah.
Going forward.
And you asked the board to also consider military and senior discounts.
Yes.
I like those ideas. So are those in the numbers that we have put in the budget discussion, or not budget discussion, but the resolution that we'll be discussing this Thursday? Did you include those discounts in that?
I don't believe I did.
I don't think so either. That's okay, we can add it later, it's okay, it's no problem. There's a lot of budget talk going around, so it just dawned on me that I don't think we added that into the rate changes. I'll put that out in a minute, rate change for Thursday, yeah.
And one of the things that we also do at the landfill for free is basically our recycling program, our cardboard, plastic. We bear the cost of that disposal cost. It used to be free. We fill the container up, and pick it up, haul it off, bring some in the container. And, now they charge us, $47 a ton.
to recycling.
And I've got some money in there this year, about $8,000 in there, just to cover those costs. I also like to maybe see if I could ask the board for some money to help with the litter program that we're developing. Just, $5,000 would go a long way to help with some supplies and some PPE, things like that.
Did you want to report on that this Thursday?
We're sort of in a holding pattern
Okay.
right now. We're waiting for folks to get back to us, and we're reaching out to people to get answers on community service employees,
Gotcha.
that sort of thing.
Okay.
And one of the other things that I've got coming is a revised agreement for our waste haulers. There are several revenue streams they're dormant right now that we could use as one is a permit to use our facility. That could help go with the wear and tear of our facility. It's not a lot, $50 a haul or something like that. The other thing is that our agreement hasn't been revised in 20-something years, and this basically give 3 credit references, and we'll bill you on the first, and every month, and that's about it. But this one goes into restricted wastes, where we're permitted to accept what they can bring in, what they should inform their customers not to put in their containers, or they shouldn't throw away common. So that's actually something I was working on.
Okay.
To revise.
Alex is available to help with
Yes.
these kinds of
Yeah,
agreements.
I've been talking about
Good.
it.
Okay. Mr. Hart, what do you want to ask?
I got a few long-term questions. So, how long has Walker County been transferring our waste to college? Or transferred it, period, I guess?
Since 2002,
2000.
when they opened back up after the closure of 90.
Yeah, so in this area, Northwest Woodbury, they transferred, Walker transfers, the 2 settings, the 2 all transfer, right? And they all go to the place in college. So what is the life expectancy of that land? Do you know that?
I've heard another 60 years.
60 years.
Actually, I was involved in the development of the first phase down there. We had 365 acres. I was doing a QA/QC on the construction of that phase. At that time, it was like an 85-year life expectancy just for the 365 acres that they had, and they purchased more land since then.
But you could get that remaining air capacity, that's what I would.
Yeah.
I just be good to know that as we think about the future.
Yes.
Not only for that, but for every county around here.
And then our expansion for Site 2 has a 25-year life expectancy.
Yeah. if we use it, but we're just not using it, yeah, but I know you're using some, so.
Well, and we keep it permanent.
Right, exactly. That was my only question.
I had, I'll add to that though, because the animal shelter sits on our property there, the landfill, so I was trying to remember that in 25 years, that may matter, you know?
If we started construction on phase one, it's divided into several phases, 4 phases. And that's phase 3, which is towards the end, but the middle end. There's probably a 12 to 14 year.
Yeah.
Time frame.
If we started right now.
Right.
Yeah, okay, that's good enough.
And the only other thing I bring up is I saw $70,000 in the budget for this year for the, open and close costs.
Yes.
So is 70,000 what you need, or is 50,000 good enough, or?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some work. We talk about long term, yes, because we have, in 2 years, we have a site inspection that's basically gonna cover everything. And this is huge. They're gonna come in and look at everything, facilities and our operations record, things like that. And some of the consultants that I've talked to are talking about price ranges of $80,000 to $200,000 just to get all of that.
Okay.
Now, we had a telephone conference with EPD a month ago. There were a lot of folks from all over the state there attending, a lot of good question and answer series. There was one gentleman, a local county government, basically said, y'all don't know what you're asking us to do, because when we raise our rates, that affects our taxpayers. You've got the board, we've got a lot of work. How this seems to be a big payday for the engineers and consulting. And then last week I called Keith Stevens, manager of the PD Solid Waste Program, talked to them, and kind of I guess echoed the same sentiment. And he's given us a route to take that he says, if you take this route, you can kick this thing through the goalposts. So we're gonna need closure, maintenance money to take care of those things. We've got drainage pipes that need to be repaired and replaced. We've got sediment ponds that need to be cleaned. We've got a stormwater program that we've got to implement. And that also includes opening up the wet weather conveyances on site to drain our site with at least nice sediment in it. So there's a lot of work coming down the pipe for us to meet that 2-year mark.
And when will we start working on that?
When the weather clears.
So like now?
I've already gone over
This year?
some things with Dale, yeah.
Okay.
So we need to get going this year.
I'd like to see a strategy, if you don't mind, just an outline of what you just said and how you and Dalen figure that out, how that's going to happen in the next 2, 3, 5 years.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Well, good. Let me know when you start hydroseed, I want to come out there.
We're having a party.
I want to see it work.
Well, yeah, probably this week. I know that Dave is grooming the slopes. He's walking the slopes, filling in some erosion features, and then after that, we're going to be good to go. So tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday.
I think we need to take some pictures.
Yes, for sure.
Glad you. And also, hey, I appreciate the hydro seed. That's a big boost for us. The sheriff's department actually reached out to us about a small hydro seeding project that they've gotten going. So like I said in the presentation, this is a piece of equipment that the county can use. Good practice for our guys to use.
Great.
All right.
Okay, leave me whatever you want me to give to the other board members, and we'll let you get back to your afternoon.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Appreciate you being prepared to be here today.
Well,
Always informative.
thank you. I believe I gave Lisa. Yeah. And I can email this too. Sometimes looking at these printed and stretched out.
Sure.
You better.
Because I need one for all of the commissioners, right?
I've got one.
Commissioner's got one.
All right. So
Would you like me to email this to you? It's easy.
No, I'd rather look at it on paper.
And I know the other one would too, so
Okay.
we can make copies for them if you don't have.
Well, here's one copy.
I've got one up here, I can use mine,
There's two.
or he can send me the email either way.
Here's an extra one.
All right,
So how many more do you need?
Just
That should
one
be
more.
it. Yeah.
That you could use mine.
Okay.
I don't need to keep it, so yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, good.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Send me some hydrogen.
Sure will. You come out there with it. Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a great afternoon, thank
too.
you.
Thanks. Hey, how's it going?
Come in and have a seat. Tell us, your name and what you do for the county.
My name is Sarah Kruger, and I'm the director of the Civic Center and campus and the Rossville campus of the Adventure Acres.
And soon to be, the Adventure.
And 27 Farm Fresh.
Yeah, 27 Farmers Market,
Which
yes.
opens
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes, super excited. We are doing good this year.
Great.
I'm excited.
More prepared because you had experience from last year and.
Yes,
Yeah.
so more vendors, and we got accepted to be approved to take EBT, SNAP, and Fresh for Less.
That's gonna be great. Would you like to report Thursday at the board meeting on how it goes? Is it, otherwise it'll be in a month before. So we can talk about it.
Okay.
Put you on the spot there, sorry. I just like to share the limelight with other
Yeah.
people, you know, so. Well, Sarah, tell us how you came to your budget numbers, and you can start with any department you want to first, it's up to you.
Okay, well, of course, with Rossville, went from nothing to a budget, so that's really kind of just simple this year because we really don't know what to expect. Pulling from what funds we've spent out of the Civic Center budget for supplies, that expense has been added into Rossville, including the Adventure Acres chemicals and stuff like that. It's been projected for the splash pad.
Right, so we put Rossville Community Center and Adventure Acres into one budget.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. So that, and then an employee over there. So that budget is pretty simple. There's not much to it, until we know.
Yeah.
And then the
You mentioned
ag,
employees, so you have one person that's going to kind of take care of the Rossville gym and also Adventure Acres. Right?
correct. So we have one employee over there now. He cleans and preps for all the events that we have going on over there. And then when the playground opens, he'll be going over there and cleaning bathrooms and trash and all of that. We do have an employee that's under the Civic Center, but he also reports to the Rossville to do maintenance. And he's the one who carries our CPO for the splash pad. We had to have someone who's a certified pool operator. So he was the one that was able to get certified for that. So he'll be responsible for those chemicals and stuff. So the Civic Center, really a lot didn't change on the budget. We are a little bit over, it looks like, but that's because of Rossville. We took in some of that money until we got this line item open for that. Really the largest change in the Civic Center is our salaries for our positions. We did add a few positions. So we have the maintenance person, we are hiring this week a second custodian to help with our current custodian. And then we have an administrative shared with the chamber. And I don't know how we did it before. I mean, it's so busy. Juliana.
Yeah.
She's been great. So that's really where the expenses go. And I feel like it's kind of justified when you look at our numbers. If you look at the campus numbers, last year, we had 389. Now that included Rossville, but it was just for like a month. So it wasn't really a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But 389 last year on campus. Make note, before I started, it was like 200. And then this year, so far, we're already at 301. And actually, I just printed off another report. We've already added 9 more events since then, last 2 weeks. So, and $2,000 more. So, that being said, we were at 300 events booked for this year, and we're just having a good year. So our numbers continue to grow in events, which means we need more toilet paper and more hotels and more cleaning supplies. And then that means, staff-wise to help to clean it. With DFACS being such a large building, having someone kind of designated to be there and then share the rest of the campus, and the other person does all of the 5 because not everyone is aware. We not only do the Civic Center and rent it and clean it, but the Ag Center and the Pavilion, we rent all those. And then we have the 911 and DFACS that we clean and stuff. So and then of course the 20 acres of campus with the playground and our maintenance person maintains, has to go check the equipment every so often. Make sure that all the bolts are tight, and the walking park and the dog park and all that has to be done.
Are you asking for another person?
No, where we're at, that's just, everyone has been hired now, so
Okay.
the money's, but it just is reflecting on this budget versus last.
I got you, okay, yeah, yes. And I neglected to say that the Ag Center is a separate budget, it's got its own
Right.
budget by itself, so.
Now, that budget, we didn't change, just because when I came on several years ago, it was just a minor budget, and then we'll just kind of handle some of the extra maintenance stuff. All the expenses for cleaning stuff comes out of the Civic Center budget. So that doesn't actually come out of that Ag Center, there's not enough money in there to do that, but we do.
So that's something Christian and I need to talk about. It's kind of like the other division we said that there's in the same pot now, but I want them separated. I want to talk about that. We need to figure out how to charge the expenses to the Ag Center, so we know how much that building is costing.
Yeah.
Because we have a separate revenue for it,
Yes, yes, we do.
so.
Again, that all goes into right now into one thing,
Yeah.
but I have separated my reports,
Yeah,
so it's
yes,
easy to
right.
apart. Yeah.
Something we can talk about.
And then, of course, DFAX, we do charge some of our supplies to DFAX.
Right.
I do have that budget, which is not in this report, but, there is a separate budget for DFAX, which some of
And
that is not.
just so you know, I did talk to the DFAX folks, we have talked to them several times, but I asked them if they would have, or I asked somebody to ask them, not even Sarah, not even Alex, I can't remember. One of us asked them if they would allow us, or if they would like to have a separate company come and clean their, because part of their building is the family and children's.
Yeah, so there's a small portion that is child support.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is,
But they have their own cleaning service, not us.
Since
We
they're
still-
already coming
we-
there, they make it.
well, we still go in and do the trash and stuff.
Well, they didn't want
They
this.
just- yeah. And I did ask, but so did Alex. We
I
both-
knew somebody did, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
And we talked about it in that meeting.
Okay, yeah.
But the state prefers it to be through the contract and that we do it in-house.
So we've just renegotiated that, have we got that signed yet, do you know?
I haven't seen a signed copy yet.
Where
But I
we-
know that both parties agree.
Okay, so I can't quote what the new rate is, but we figured all that into the new rate that we charge the state to take care of that building for them. And that contract was since 2013.
That's really good for that.
Yeah, we know. So I just don't
I
have.
think it'd be a good idea though, yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, Sarah, I just walked all over you, and I'm so
No,
sorry.
you didn't. No, I mean, that's kind of all I had to say.
Okay, well,
I
that's
got
good.
a question, so you mentioned, and I know I'll also Richie does, or they does a lot, the track. We're getting bids to pave it, is that right?
Well, I don't know if it's paved, it's gonna be a.
Well,
Yeah, so
walking surface.
we had got, I got several bids last year when we applied for the grant.
Yeah.
Now that we've been approved, we waiting for that step to where we actually get the new bids
Okay.
to get, and so we have options of, different type of paving. We're hoping to go with rubberized surface. We did get a really great quote on it last year. If it still stands, that's what we're hoping to go with.
Yeah, okay, that'd be good.
Prior to that, I would really like to consider having a military memorial in the center of that space. I want to build it up a little bit. We have a lot of dirt, so we can use our own dirt to build it up just a little bit, make it more level, not so in a hole. And in the center of that walkway, or that walking park in the front, have a memorial for all the military branches. Kind of like Somerville has, similar to that.
You get the American Legion to help.
He's helping me already, yeah. Yep.
And that's the front part, when you first see off the 27,
There's
that
a-
front,
right.
it's really low, and so we can
Yes.
build it up.
Yeah,
It'll be a
and
good spot for
with
it.
the track coming, that'd be nice. But there's a lot more to that track than meets the eye, actually. It goes way back behind there, so.
Sure does.
And you might could even use some of that to go down to the dog park.
That's what I'm hoping
Yeah,
that, when we kind of discussed the trail path, part of the grant was to get it to more into nature, so we have it going through the trees. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, I'd have to talk to everybody that's involved with it, but I'm hoping that it can kind of come up the dog park path there so that we have a safer way, because our dog park is not really accessible for people with disabilities or even elderly who could get tumbled with an animal taking them down to there, so. But it does get used, and of course, if we can get it fixed up, it will get really used, so.
Adventure Acres still planning to be open, July? Okay.
Both playgrounds are planning to July.
Okay.
That's our goal, it's this weather, but
Yeah,
The weather got it.
good. All right, well, that's all.
That's all, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Sir does a good job, that's what we do a lot, I appreciate it.
yes, I appreciate you, looking forward to the new product we're working on.
We're working, we're close. We're
Yes.
close, I think the way this is.
Yes, I'll give you some updates here soon, because we're on my end, so.
Yeah.
Appreciate it,
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks for
Sarah.
coming in. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
All right, well, with that was our last department presentation today. So I'm going to close out our session, and we will begin again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. For our set of 4 other departments, and we'll be finished. So, all right, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.